offense.
Ah,
It's been a while. What's wrong?
Okay, there we go. All right. Welcome, everybody, to an all-new episode of GVN Sports. This is going to be a really fun discussion that we're going to have for a lot of these topics. It's going to be a lot of fun. I want to introduce my co-host, starting off first with Didge. What's up, Didge? Love that background.
oh yeah, you know.
Love that
Had
background,
to show
man.
off Giannis, you know.
I see you.
Doing well. How are you guys?
Good. Joel, how you doing, man?
All right, man. I'm just rushing home. I'm good now.
I love it. We're all here and we're ready to go. All right, let's start off with I want to start off with football because basketball is a little bit, we got a lot for basketball. Football is just very
Okay.
I did want to start off with just for us, Didge, mainly for Patriots. Apparently Matt Patricia spent most of his day today in OTAs with the offense. I still don't know what the fuck is happening.
I truly don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's just, it is what it is at this point.
I'll say this. You know how like the Allen Iverson practice thing was like one of the greatest media moments in history? Bill Belichick has added to that. They asked this motherfucker today, like, hey, you guys running a different offense this year? This motherfucker legit looks right at the camera and
I
goes,
don't know.
Bitch, what? Like, what?
That's when I was just like, all right, well, okay. I couldn't have been a reporter there because I would just like, what? Like,
yeah. Bill Belichick sounds like that parent that whenever you go, hey, man, like, how's the kids doing? I don't know. Last time I heard they were doing great. Last time you heard, bitch, I asked you, how are your kids doing? Not your job. Bitch, you should know this. Like, how you not know anything? So when he looked right at the camera, he was just like, I don't know. I'm sorry. Are you telling me that the offense works separately from the entire team? Like they just go off and do their own shit? What do you mean you don't know?
Yeah.
And then you know what was even funnier about him saying that? And Joel, you're gonna laugh at this. The guy who just said, "Oh, I don't know if we're doing anything differently offensively." He played the center for Mac Jones today in practice. So he was hiking this motherfucker the ball.
He spent
There's
so much time that he spent with the offense. I see reports about that like damn near every other day. It's like, oh yeah, he was with the offense all day. Oh yeah, he spent so much time with the offense. It's like, what do you mean you don't know?
I'm telling you, man. Look, like I said, I am putting a lot of stress on the Mets to be really good this year and on the Knicks to do fucking something because I have a strange ass feeling I'm just not going to be interested in football this year.
I feel like this year might get rough.
This might be one of those skip years where you just go, man, 2023, right? And it's like, whoa, hold on. What happened in 2022? I don't fucking know. I skipped it.
It's getting worrisome because it's like, when I saw that and like, I just looked at it like, this can't be real. This has to be just somebody's tweeting. Yeah. I went and saw it again. And I'm like, what's going on here?
God bless. God bless. I did want to also bring this up. Cam Newton was doing that All Athletes podcast with like Ryan Clark and those guys. He was giving praise to Mac Jones, said he believes Mac Jones is a top 20 quarterback. Which I think all of us can agree. We could see him being there in top 20.
I thought about that after you said it first. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's over half the league. He should be in the top half.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, top 20. That's not crazy. So I'm like
32 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm like, if he said top 15, then that's when I'd have to do some math. Like, well, wait a minute, top 15. Ooh. Those are some fucking names. So yeah, top 20 isn't, but I will also say this. He didn't have the greatest rookie year ever.
Right.
So 20 could, but I'm saying 20 could also be generous because I'm sure whoever was that 21st in Cam Newton's mind, you could possibly make an argument for. We don't know because he didn't elaborate, but I'm saying 20 is generous because it's not like the man put up like crazy numbers and crazy stats. He had a solid year. He had a solid year for a rookie. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I would have been curious who his bottom half was. You know what I'm saying? Rather than what his top 20 was. Who was the other ones is what I would have been curious about. But he did go into kind of, you know, maybe making it sound like he doesn't believe Tua is the best of the guys out there throwing footballs. I would just like to remind Cam Newton that unless you say you are retired, which we know he doesn't want to do that yet, last year was a really horrible year for Cam Newton to be talking about any other fucking quarterback in the NFL. That was really fucking bad. Coming off of a season in New England that started off promising, and then that ended really fucking bad.
That ended with COVID,
maybe,
though.
No. No arguments here. No arguments here. Just saying, if we're just talking about style of play did you, and he wasn't the most accurate beforehand.
No, fair.
So,
but it seemed like post-COVID, it just.
But I'll also say this, Didge. Here's the reason why I won't give him COVID for the last half of the season, maybe a game or two. That Bills game, he lost us running. Remember, he fumbled it like 5 yards away from the end zone.
True.
That Broncos game, he fumbled it when we were within a touchdown of winning that game. So a lot of those games he lost on his feet, not throwing the football. We'll ignore that 49ers game that looked like he was a rookie. It was, what the fuck are you doing out there? And then the Rams game, they shit it down our throats. It was a few games Cam should probably refrain from speaking ill of other quarterbacks when his last 2 years are maybe not the greatest, you know, maybe not the greatest. Just saying, you know, I'd maybe not talk shit is all I'm saying. But all right, so let's move on. So I wanted to do this because I thought this would be a lot of fun. So I wanted to go over who we thought our top 5 quarterbacks, top 5 running backs, and top 5 wide receivers right now. Not all time, just right now, currently. Yeah, not all time. Because to me, I couldn't do a top 5 all time. My list would just grow too exponentially.
It'd be rough.
It would be. And the main reason why I couldn't do a top 5 all time is I'd sit here and have to listen to you guys argue me down because I'm putting Julian Edelman in my top 5. Fuck it. So.
Yes,
So I have no interest in hearing that argument whatsoever.
I'm definitely glad we're not doing that
whatsoever. He's in my top 5. I'm taking Julian Edelman.
I don't even know football that well, and I wouldn't do that. So it's like
top 5.
I put him in my top 5. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
I'm glad we're not. All right. Yeah. No all time talk. No all time. Yeah.
I'm just saying. I don't believe Brady has 3 of these last rings outside of Tampa Bay without Julian Edelman. That's all I'm saying.
Edelman doesn't have it without Tom either. So
right.
Works both ways.
I guess. But we have seen Tom Brady play with other receivers not named Julian Edelman, and it ain't work out so well.
And also get rings.
Oh no! I mean, like during the time shortly after Julian Edelman, we saw him with a few other guys in New England that year where Tennessee bounced us out. There was no Jules. There, and he struggled. He struggled mightily. But all right, so I'll kick this off. So I'm not putting anybody on the spot. Before I do, shout out to listener Jim in the comment section. Colts Darius Leonard had back surgery today. I haven't heard much more than that. They need him to be the stud on defense this year. I'm going to be honest with you. Darius Leonard isn't who you need to be a stud. You need Stephon Gilmore to be your stud on defense.
To be fair, they did say that he'd be Darius Leonard. They said he'd be ready for the season.
Yeah, I thought he should be ready for the season, but they need him to be very productive. But if Stephon Gilmore can take a side of the field away, it makes Darius's job a lot easier. It makes that front line's job a lot easier, and it makes all the other corners look really fucking good because he's essentially taking away the other team's best option. So you're getting the second, third, fourth best options. So you need Stephon Gilmore to revert back to his old New England days. And if he could do that, he makes everybody else's job so much easier.
Just a little bit of that, right?
Right.
Yeah. You just don't want any of what the Panthers got. You want to imagine that was just like one of those skip years for him. He's now coming back to himself.
Never happened. What are you talking about?
Me personally, because he's not on my team, I hope he's more so the Panthers and less unless the Patriots, because then it makes Bill look like a genius. Like, yeah, he got rid of Gilmore around the right time. Like,
yeah, it wouldn't hurt
not himself. Yeah. So, and I'm sorry, listener Jim, but the Colts are in the AFC, so I don't wish any good for you. Sorry.
Like I say, yeah, would not hurt me.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
They look good though if they stay healthy. So
I still have question marks at the quarterback position. So
I mean, I think they have other issues. I mean, I don't think. I mean, quarterback's not their. Matt Ryan's not one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. Let's say that. He's top 20.
Yeah. No argument there. But then that's why I said that conversation of top 20 gets really interesting, because you can make a really good case that the top 15 is where the elite and then really fucking good stop. And then anything past that or beyond that is very middle of the road.
If you have him between 15 and 20, it's better than anything under him.
No, I would have Yes. I give you that. I give you that. But that's why I'm saying from 15 to 20, I look at it and I'm like, those are probably some passable fucking names from 15 to 20 and then 20 beyond.
Go
ahead, Joe.
No, I'm looking at all the depth chart. Like I have all the depth charts on my spreadsheet. And it's like, yeah, when you said top 20, I'm like, yeah, you're right, top 20.
I just looked at like just the quarterbacks from last year. I'm like, all right. Without having a rank, all right, sure. That works.
Projected starting quarterback, yeah, top 20 sounds right.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so we're gonna start off with our number one for top quarterbacks.
We're going round robin. Just everybody says one.
Everyone says yeah. And this is not in any order. You can put it in the order that you want at the end.
No, clutch. No order.
Yeah, no order.
I don't have to do. We don't have to do an order. I don't have to do that.
Yeah, we don't have to do an order.
No order. Just naming 5.
So the first name I'm putting up on the board is Justin Herbert. That's my motherfucker. I don't support any team in the AFC that's not New England, but if I did, I'd support the fuck out of Justin Herbert. I love that motherfucker. The man has a fucking cannon. Like everyone always raves
MVP
about.
Pick this year?
That was my MVP pick this year.
All right.
Everyone always raves about Patrick Mahomes' arm, and I'm just like that. Justin Herbert must just be fucking invisible. Like he must be the live action Invisible Man, because that motherfucker can gun it. And he's just clutch. He just really is. He's fucking clutch. I love the kid. So Justin Herbert's the first name I'm putting on the board. Didge, what name you putting up?
Josh Allen. I got to get that out the way.
Yeah, let's just
he's a great quarterback. That's all I got to say.
That makes everything easy. To me, if you're gonna have them two up, the next 3 should be easy, right? You would assume.
No. Because I don't think our top 5s are going to be similar. I think we'll have a few names that are obvious.
Yeah, there's a few names that are obvious. Yeah. There's going to be some. There's going to be some misses.
There's one in the middle that's going to be like debatable.
What do you got for number 1, Joel?
With
the first pick, I mean the first pick, not like your.
There's no order, right?
So, right. Yeah.
And it's around, so it's like we're including our own, like we're doing our own 5 is what we're doing.
Yeah, we're all doing our own 5.
We're not going by statistics or anything like that. Just our personal eye test. Who do we think are the
I thought I was using yours too. I'm like, that's a good start. I was gonna pick them anyway.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not have Justin Herbert in mind.
That's why I said I didn't think our list would be completely the same.
I thought I have Justin Herbert was definitely going to be near at least 5. I think he's that good.
I went back and forth including him on mine, and my number 5 is why I didn't. But yeah,
we'll get to that. Yeah. What's the first name you're putting up, Joel?
Aaron Rodgers.
Huh? Wait, who'd you say? Oh, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
as long as he's
I'm sorry. I only said Han because I thought you said, are there others? And I'm like, yeah, we're talking about the top 5. You didn't even say 1 yet.
Yeah.
Are there others? Yeah. Start.
Each of us have 4 more.
I'm like, start. Yeah, we've already given ours. Yes. Okay. Aaron Rodgers. Okay. So Aaron Rodgers is not on my list.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's why I said I didn't think our lists were going to be exactly the same.
Interesting.
There was definitely going to be some parity here. So the second name I got on here is Joe Cool himself. The coolest motherfucker in the world. Joe Cool. I will not say his actual last name because legally he should fucking change it to Joe Cool. Cincinnati got a real fucking winner in that quarterback they got over there in Cincinnati. And I really do believe that Joe Burrow losing in that Super Bowl the way that he did, it's only going to make that motherfucker hungrier. And what a bounce back year. Holy shit. There's like 90 reporters that wrote off the Bengals this past season numerous times. They're not going to beat the Chiefs. They're not going to be. They got there. They fucking got there, and they were within a horrible offensive line away from him possibly making a good drive, man. Possibly making a solid drive. And I do think there was a couple calls in that game that were bullshit. Yeah,
definitely a couple missed calls.
That goal line call was just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Rough one.
Come on, man.
That was a rough one.
Fuck? But again, he lost. Doesn't matter. But Joe Burrow is the second name I'm putting up there. Didge, what's your second name?
Pat Mahomes. I mean, I don't think, again, that's another one. I'm trying to get the ones that you don't really have much that you need to say out of the way. Like we know Pat Mahomes is top 5.
Easy.
To answer listener Jim's question, he asks, do I think, what are the odds Burrow slides a bit down? None. I mean, if you're Cincinnati, for your sake, you hope not. But that was a surprising year he had. So now you're kind of just playing with house money. If he gives you anything close to that, you take that as a fucking win.
I say 60-40 because there's usually a Super Bowl hangover. Past couple years, there hasn't really been, but last year both teams did really well, obviously going back. I guess you could call the hangover them not making it back to the Super Bowl, but they both made it to the conference championship.
See, okay, let me tell you how I'm viewing it. Joe Burrow's been in the league going on 3 years now, right? His second year, he made it to a fucking Super Bowl. So if you're telling me the worst thing to happen is that he makes the playoffs and either finishes in the divisional round or in the championship game, that's still a win. That's still a win.
That's why I said 60-40 because you don't really measure team success with the Super Bowl hangover. It's usually like
individual.
Your stats go down. And I would have to look at Brady and Mahomes. I mean, I would say Brady and Mahomes, their stats didn't. But
I would say Mahomes' stats from the year they went to the Super Bowl to this past season. Because remember, they started off with us going, what the fuck is happening to this team?
Let me look. Because
he was a turnover machine in the first, 6 weeks? Joel, and this isn't a knock at all. They fucking struggled against the Giants. They almost fucking lost to the Giants.
I do remember that, but I thought that he still wasn't. It wasn't still. I'd have to look at his stats. I thought it was more so a team thing.
100%. I was just about to say it wasn't a Patrick Mahomes has completely fallen off the map kind of thing. It was more so he's just not playing the way he did last year, but he finished the year turning back into Patrick Mahomes. But those first 4 to 6 weeks were rough. They were rough, man. They were rough.
To be honest, his stats were better.
This year?
Yes. He just threw more picks. That's literally it. Everything else went up.
A lot of those picks helped lose a lot of fucking games, though.
Now that's fair. I'm not discounting that. But it's just which was going to be my point before I actually saw the stats was I wondered if it was that increased just look at the team. Because remember, going into this year, even with them losing the Super Bowl, it was the Chiefs, they got it. It's theirs to lose. Like even though they had lost the year before, it's theirs to lose. Patrick Mahomes is basically God out there. Right. And so it was like anything that was like a crack in the armor was, whoa, what's going on? So
listener Jim says Derek Carr top 5. But honestly, the AFC is going to have some great talent at quarterback outside looking in. The playoffs.
It is.
I don't measure it by whether or not you have the playoffs, because if you're talking about what quarterback is better, a lot goes into team success. So to me, I just go, well, whose numbers were better, right? And who was working with what? Because here's my thing: Joe Burrow made the Super Bowl with one of the worst fucking offensive lines we've ever seen, right?
Yes.
And he made the Super Bowl. It was very close to possibly winning said Super Bowl. So if we're talking about that offensive line getting even remotely better, just even slightly better than what they were. Now it comes down to there's no excuses for Joe Burrow. You got a top 5 possible receiver. Joe Mixon is a motherfucker in the backfield. You got a solid defense. It's on you, kid. It's on you. We're expecting you to get back to the big dance. So now this year is where the pressure mounts. There was no pressure last year, which gave him the freedom to either fuck up or go to a Super Bowl. This year now, you can't backslide. So we'll definitely have to see how he responds to that said pressure. But the Derek Carr thing, I won't answer yet. I'll wait till everyone's top 5 is filled out. And then if someone has him or doesn't have him, then we'll get back to that.
So Joel, then it's on your 2, right? Yeah, because mine was second with Mahomes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on you, Joel.
What number am I on?
You're on 2.
Brady.
Oh, wow. Yeah, another name not on my list.
Interesting.
Yeah,
he's also on my list. So far,
no Brady on my list.
I mean, I won't even have to go third the next time because so far. Oh yeah, so far because I have Brady, Mahomes, and then obviously I already said Allen, but there's no point of me saying Brady again after George already said it.
Got you. All right, so that
Are we
was
avoiding each other's picks? Like, is that what we're doing? So at the end, they'll be like top 15.
I guess to a degree, but if you just said Brady, right? So I mean, there's no need to defend why you said Brady. So like Didge, if he has Brady too, he doesn't have to go in depth more as to why Brady makes the list.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not one of those like Brady, what the fuck? What? So it's like, okay, cool, no problem. So Didge, that's your 3, right?
Yeah, so far that's 3.
So that's your 3. All right. So my third name, I'm going Deshawn Watson. Deshaun Watson. I think people
plays again.
well, he definitely probably won't play most of this year. But he'll definitely be back next year. That's for sure.
If playing, he's definitely top 10.
When playing, not last year, like the season we just left, the year before that motherfucker was a top 5 quarterback statistically.
He was.
And that was not a good Texans team, and he was a top 5 quarterback. So now you're going to Cleveland that is immensely better than that Texans team was that he left. I believe this motherfucker will slide right back into that top 5, and even give Mahomes and Allen and those guys a run for possibly being top 3. If he can't do it with Amari Cooper, Njoku, in Chubb, you can't get any better than that if you're Deshaun Watson. You just can't. You can't. That's a great 3. That's a great 3 right there to have. Not the greatest, but it is a great 3. So a lot of pressures on him, especially because look, Vic had to play a whole year in Philly with people calling him all kinds of shit. So it's like Deshaun Watson got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. A lot of pressure. What's your 3, Joe? What's your number? Your third pick, Joel. Sorry, not your number 3.
My third pick.
Mm-hmm.
I know what everybody else's picks. Shit. Lamar Jackson.
Wow. All right, so all right.
Wow.
My top 5 has been said already.
Wow. You put Lamar in your top 5 too?
Yeah.
And y'all motherfuckers left out Justin Herbert?
Yeah. I did, yes.
I did.
Because I also had Rodgers in my top 5. I completely forgot you already had said Rodgers. That's literally my top 5 right there.
So wait a minute. Hold on.
Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson are the 2 that we're going back and forth with. And
hold on. I'm just more curious on how you left Joe Burrow out and put in Lamar Jackson.
I think Lamar was hurt last year. I think when Lamar's playing at his best, he is a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Just learn more. What's it called? More time on the field.
More time on the field, and he influences the game in other ways. It's not solely passing, but he can kill you with his legs.
He can. But to me, there's something very entitled. And now we can go back to something. Remember when we were having the top point guard conversation, and you were telling me how important the assists and steals are. Your top 5, you're one of your candidates for top 5 quarterbacks isn't a better thrower than Joe Burrow.
I didn't say I was consistent. I don't need that from my quarterback. So.
Look, I respect it. I got no argument to that. I respect it. Shit. Wow. And no Deshaun Watson.
His was, I just ain't seen you play in so long. I don't know how rusty you're gonna come back.
Right. That's where I'm staying. I stand with that too. Best ability is availability.
Right.
Well, fucking Lamar Jackson was hurt last year.
He was hurt. This nigga might have come back because he's low legally. He just can't play.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're talking about rust. Injury to me is worse than the idea of you just didn't play.
But it's not like he missed the whole year. He missed like 4 games.
No. I'm saying the injuries that keep piling up. Can he come? Because here's the thing. If these injuries start to pile up and he can't run as efficiently, then that motherfucker has a throw. And we just finished saying he's not one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league. So then it becomes, well, because remember, Vic had a strong-ass arm. Fair. It was never just, if he can't run, what the fuck can he do? Bitch, I'll throw it 90 yards on your ass. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And we saw a lot of Cam Newton's effectiveness was just running the football. He could throw it, but that was with a safety blanket. That was with 2 safety blankets, I'm sorry. He had one of the better tight ends at the time, and he fucking had Steve Smith for a while.
Right.
So when he lost both of those 2 things, we saw he struggled getting the ball downfield. And he needed his legs.
I also chose someone that no one said anything yet. We've been pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm not one whose 5 has. I'm not one whose 5 is literally already gone.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like I tried.
My last 2 are already said.
I tried picking someone that hasn't been said yet too. Like,
wait, you gotta believe in your pick though. Also,
I do believe in Lamar Jackson. I do. Like,
I get what he's saying though. He was trying to lead with because I was doing the same thing. I was trying to lead with the ones who hadn't been said yet, and I somehow I missed saying. I forgot to say Rodgers. Like you already had said it.
But I don't know why. We don't have to go anymore then. Like,
I don't have to go anymore.
We said all of ours. Yeah, we said all of ours.
But I was trying to fill in there. I was literally trying to do a top 15. That's where I was going. I was
That's very interesting. Yeah, I don't have Brady. We
were going in that direction.
Wait, who's your 5th then? Because you said you have one that nobody said yet.
Who, me?
No, Joel did.
Oh.
No, I was choosing someone that no one picked yet.
Okay.
Got you. Yeah. All right. So then we can answer listener Jim's question.
By the way, I did want to bring this up.
Yeah.
You talked about Lamar Jackson's accuracy. He has the same accuracy as Pat Mahomes last year.
Oh, that's not saying much. I said it before. I thought Patrick Mahomes had an average year compared to him.
But I'm saying his career. Pat Mahomes' average last year was better than his career average.
Really?
Yes.
That makes statistically no sense. I get you. But
granted, it was 0.2% more.
Okay. All right.
But
you
still,
made it seem like it was a lot more. Okay,
but still, the whole point of it is Patrick Mahomes is about a 67% passer. Mm-hmm. Exactly what Lamar Jackson did last year.
And again, I think a lot of Patrick Mahomes' success throwing the football is because you have a guy in Tyreek Hill that could take a 5-yard pass and zoom that shit 80 yards, right?
Fair.
So it's like, well, let's see what he does this year. Because I can tell you right now, Mr. TikTok can't take 5 yards.
You don't think Juju can do it?
He can't take 5 yards and make it 80. So we'll see.
You don't got
hell no. And Derek Carr is in my top 10. But not
not top 5. He's too inconsistent to be top 5.
Mm-hmm. That's it. But it's not that I don't think he's good at all. He's in my top 10. Definitely my top 10. All right, let's head into running backs. I'm going to start off. I'm going Joe Mixon. Fucking love everything about Joe Mixon, man. That's a little Energizer Bunny, man. Joe Mixon, love what he did last year. That's a running back I would take if I did fantasy football easily, without even thinking. I would take Joe Mixon. And he's also, this is something that a lot of running backs don't try to do, which bothers me a lot. You don't have a lot of elite receiving backs. Just don't. You don't. And Joe Mixon is one of those really good receiving backs. So that's also something that I really, truly appreciate. So Joe Mixon is the first name I'm putting up on the list. Didge, what's the first name you're putting up on the list?
Jonathan Taylor, of course.
Yeah, makes sense. No explanation needed.
Yeah.
No. The man could have been looked at as the MVP of the season last year. So yeah, there's no argument. Joel, what's the name you putting up there?
What are we doing? Which one?
Running backs.
Running backs. Jonathan Taylor.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. Next up, I'm going a homer. I'm going Damian Harris. Damian Harris is the name that I am putting up there. It really is. Really, truly is. I'm putting Damian Harris.
I haven't liked a New England running back in a long time.
I'm putting Damian Harris's name up there.
That's
Damian
an interesting
Harris is
one.
legit. He's fucking legit.
He's legit. I'll give you that. He's legit.
He makes my list. Damian Harris makes my makes my second pick. What's your second pick, Didge?
Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, that's on my list. Yeah, Dalvin Cook.
List. I had him in fantasy last year, and he won me like 4 or 5 games. Just him.
Dalvin Cook easily. You look if you're Minnesota and you look at that team, you definitely look at Dalvin Cook and then Kirk Cousins, and you go, I'm going to put it in Dalvin Cook's hands today. I'm going to let Dalvin Cook win us the game, not you, Kirk, not you. All right, I like that. Dalvin Cook's on my list, so is Jonathan Taylor. So I'm with you too on those 2 picks. Joel, what's the second name you're putting on your list?
Oh, motherfucker. Derrick Henry.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't have Derrick Henry on my list.
Derrick Henry's on my list.
Yeah, I didn't have him on my list.
That's shocking.
Yeah, my final pick is the guy that I really fucking love to see play fucking football. That's Najee Harris. Fucking love Najee Harris
on my list. I only have one more left.
I fucking love Najee Harris. I really, truly do. I love everything about his game. Najee Harris is definitely on my list. He's going to make life a lot easier for Pittsburgh next year. Yes. With seeing where they're at quarterback-wise, he's going to make life a lot easier for them, especially if that defense can play elite, put the ball in his hands, let him run the clock out. You got a quarterback that you just need to just not lose you the game. That's it. I don't need you to air it out. I don't need you to keep up with 30 points. Let the defense hold the other team to about 21, about what? 14, 16 to 21 points. You just run the fuck out of that football. I think he could do that. So Najee Harris is the final one because I also have Jonathan Taylor and Dalvin Cook. Didge, what's the is your list completed?
No, so I have one free. So I did already, like I said, I did have Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, and Najee Harris. Mm-hmm. Joe Mixon is the one I don't have. I think Nick Chubb is the superior AFC North running back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chubb's good.
Wow. I tell you what, we'll find out this year.
We will.
We'll find out this year. We'll find out this year.
As of right now, I think Nick Chubb is the superior running back.
Okay. All right. Okay. We'll definitely see that though. That's gonna be a little side bet between the two of us.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm curious who's had a better year.
Yeah, because look, if Deshawn Watson doesn't miss any games, we're talking about 2 quarterbacks who are gonna air the fuck out of the football. So we're talking rushing in short yard situations rather than having to give it to your running back to take over a game.
Right.
So both of their numbers, I believe, won't be as high, but it'll be interesting to see who makes the most out of the chances they're given. Right. 100%. Joel. So I'll tell you so far, the names that have been said: Joe Mixon, Damian Harris, Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook. Obviously you said, what's his fucking name from the Titans?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Right.
You got a name that hasn't been said yet?
Aaron Jones.
Wow.
I had him at 6.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
I had Aaron Jones at like 8.
Aaron Jones is really
good.
I'm
like you guys said a lot of them, so I was trying to avoid picking
Aaron Jones is really good. He was just hurt a lot this year.
He was. I like that.
And with the pickup, sort of not to pick up, but like the getting better of what's the guy's name? AJ Dillon.
Yeah.
That took away some of his touches because Green Bay, obviously I watched so many Packer games just being in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
They do a true third down back essentially.
Got you. Yeah, not a lot of people do that. That's why whenever I see that in Madden, I'm just like, what? No. My primary back is my my 1 through 4. Like
Green Bay, they will for sure. And even in short yardage situations, it's all right, we're gonna bring in our ground and pound guy.
Right.
Let me tell you how many times I hear, oh yeah, the ground and pound back.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's not usually a thing around the NFL. Whoever your main running back is just usually who you use.
Well, Dallas does it
on
too.
all 3 downs.
Sort of.
That's more so because I think they believe that Ezekiel Elliott's not the same guy he used to be. So it's just the effectiveness of he's not giving you the numbers that he usually would. I think a lot of that has to do with they used to have the best offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah.
That has slowly dropped the last few years. And look, Zeke had a chance to show his superiority the year Dak was out the whole season. That was a perfect chance for Zeke to just go, give me the football. Regardless if it turns into wins or not, I'm about to lead the league in rushing yards.
Right.
Because they had horrible quarterback play. So I'm like, you should have been rushing the ball, the most with the most yards, most rushing touchdowns, because your quarterback play was horrible. And he couldn't. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of Zeke's success was from the offensive line being all-time great. And as you start to saw that offensive line age, you're starting to see the gaps.
He did it just when I picked him up in fantasy. It was the best time. It'd be terrible. I was like, come the fuck on.
I will say one running back that haunts Joel's nightmares is definitely Tariq Cohen.
Mother of you guys.
Mother of God.
Tariq Cohen, dude. Joel used to get Tariq Cohen in fantasy football. And it would seem like every day Joel would put him in his starting lineup. The motherfucker would never get the ball. He would never get playing time, never get the ball. And then the moment Joel's like, you know what? Enough with you. Tariq Cohen has a breakout game. And it's like, you bitch, what do you keep doing this to me for?
Oh, that was another one I used to hear too much about going to school in
Bears.
Illinois.
The Bears.
The Bears.
Bears fans.
And the only reason I don't have Saquon Barkley in my top 5 is because I think the injuries has taken away a lot of his super.
I love him, and it hurts me more than anybody to not put him in my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
But he has to prove it.
Yeah,
his rookie year was great, but he's been injured a lot. He hasn't been able to prove it since. He's Christian McCaffrey's still in my top 5, and he was injured last year. So it's like, that's a guy. He's great. Fucking amazing. Alvin Kamara, another really good, running back.
Yeah.
Yep. But look, the names you just said, I'm glad you said those 2 specific names. Jameis Winston, I think, is the best. He is the best out of that middle of the pack quarterbacks that you could have, right? I think he is the best out of that middle of the road quarterbacks,
of the
right?
teams.
Right. So you look at Jameis Winston and you go, he's coming off of a pretty crazy injury, right? So you go, if you're Alvin Kamara, this is the year where you should be leading in rushing, right? To take some of that pressure off of Jameis Winston to where he doesn't have to throw you 30 touchdowns and 30 picks and not make the playoffs. He can maybe alleviate a lot of that, right? And if you're Christian McCaffrey, you don't have a fucking quarterback. So you also should be leading in a lot of statistical categories. So that's what I'm saying.
Quarterback.
Right now, it's still Sam Darnold.
Oh, yeah, that's who it is. Okay.
Still Sam Darnold. They're paying that motherfucker a lot of money. So he better do something.
Yeah,
he better do something. But where you could help Sam Darnold is Christian McCaffrey being healthy all season helps Sam Darnold not make those long play mistakes, right? Because you could just dump off to Christian McCaffrey, who could take 8 yards, make it 25. So it's like if he stays healthy the whole year, that'll help that team a lot. That'll definitely help that team a lot. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. All right, wide receiver, and I'm going to start with you, Joel. What's the first name you're putting up for wide receiver?
Oh shit, Devontae Adams.
Okay. Yeah, no question
Safe
there.
choice.
It's the fucking safest choice you can definitely make, but it is probably the top 3. He's one of the top 3 names you could name.
Yeah, he's definitely on my list.
100%. All right, Didge, what's the first name you're putting up?
Jamar Chase.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. You guys took 2 of mine already. 2 of mine are gone.
Same.
You 2 should know the name I'm putting up here. You should fucking know the name I'm putting up here. I've only talked about him every fucking day. Keenan Allen. Allen.
I knew that.
Is in my fucking top 5 because that is Mr. Reliable. That is Mr. Third Down. That is Captain Clutch. And he is going to reestablish his dominance this year alongside Justin Herbert. And what's going to help Keenan Allen out a lot is the fact that they could have an elite defense that gives Justin Herbert extra opportunities at throwing touchdowns this year. So I do think that Keenan Allen will put up big numbers, but I did want to bring up a name. He has been somebody I have supported for a while that I feel as though kind of gets overlooked because he doesn't put up like the greatest numbers, but also he gets overlooked because of Mike Williams and obviously Keenan Allen. And that's I'm spacing on his name right now. No, I'm completely spacing on his name.
You know the team?
Yeah, Chargers.
Oh, it's on the Chargers?
Yeah, Chargers. I just fucking drafted him in fantasy and I can't.
You said Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Guyton?
Yes, Guyton. Guyton's the guy to look out for this year for the Chargers. To have a breakout year. Guyton, I think, is going to have a breakout year for the Chargers this year. That's a guy I want you guys to definitely listen out for. Guyton, I believe, Jalen Guyton is going to have a monster year this year for sure. So that's a name that I definitely just wanted to put out there for you guys to keep an eye out on. But Keenan Allen makes my top 5. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. But next up, Joel, what's the second name you're putting up here? Remember, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, the two names that have been said so far. That are and
Keenan Allen.
Yeah. Well, I only didn't add Keenan Allen because I know for a fact neither one of you motherfuckers has him on your list. So the ones that I believe either of you guys might have would be Jamar Chase.
I'm glad you know me so well because I did not.
I know you guys don't. Again, Keenan Allen is a favorite of mine. Is a personal favorite of mine. I understand it. I mean, he's only been in top 100 for the last 4 years in a row, but whatever. Joel, what's the next name you're putting up on the list?
He's a thoughtful one. Like, it's like, because I'm kind of, there's so many guys. To me, I mean, Michael Thomas, maybe.
Again, when you pick, remember this, Joel. We're not ESPN, so I'm not holding your feet to the fire of like, no, it needs to be statistically this guy. No, so if it's just a favorite of yours, you can put it up there. Michael Thomas is a great name to go up there. Yeah. When healthy and with a competent quarterback, that man could put up monster numbers.
Which, unfortunately, he might not have either of this year.
Why won't he have health?
Why you gotta be so negative?
Yeah, I'm like, why won't he have health? Like, I won't argue the competent quarterback,
I still don't know the full reason why he was out last year.
Well, remember, a lot of him being out last year was he did want to be traded because there were stalls on his contract.
Okay.
So I could see that still being an issue this year, but I think it was something with his leg that was an issue.
I didn't mean it as something else knew was gonna happen. I just whatever.
You said that like expect injury and expect Jameis Winston to be shit.
Well, no, Jameis Winston. I figure he's coming off. What was it? Wasn't it 2 ACLs?
Yeah.
So like Jameis Winston, I figure no matter what, he's coming off of that. He may not be ready for. I know that's where he's gunning for. I know that's where they're aiming for. Is like him to be ready first game. 2 ACLs. I've torn 1 ACL, so 2 ACLs is hell. Like look, I just can't imagine.
I've torn none, and I know it's hell. It's like when someone's like, "Yo, I got shot and it was hell," and it's like I've never been shot, and I can imagine.
I'm just saying, like I tore an ACL and had to get back to regular life. I can only imagine what it's like having to get back to turning 2 ACLs and getting back to top tier quarterback play. Yeah. Sure, it's not easy.
Not easy at all. Fucking not easy at all.
Right now, the Jaguars want Christian Kirk to be top 5.
Well, they're paying him money to be top 5.
They are.
So, him or Trevor Lawrence better turn out to be fucking something or they're fucked. Or they're dealing with another. Remember the last quarterback the Jaguars thought they had? And they were like, yeah, full force with Blake Bortles. And it was just like, no.
Man, what a fall off.
Yeah.
Bortles had that one good year, and then it was just.
You know what happened? You know what happened, Diggs? What happened to him is the same thing that the AFC can say consistently happened for a decade. You ran into Brady, he stole your life force, and you could never be the same. That's what happened. When Gilmore did that block on that 4th down to give us possession to win that game, all of the life force and Blake Bortles got sucked out of his body, and Brady used that to propel himself to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, it happens. It's cool. It's no problem, Blake Bortles. A lot of quarterbacks can say that. Phillip Rivers was never the same. That 2007 year, where they had a chance at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And New England beat them out. Phillip Rivers was never the same. Never the fucking same. And LaDainian Tomlinson had to leave the Chargers to go to New York just to try to get to be the same again. So it happens. It's cool. It's whatever happens. That's no. What's funny is when LaDainian Tomlinson went to the Jets, they went to 2 straight AFC championships, beating us, one of them to get there. But unfortunately, when they couldn't beat Brady, when they could beat Brady, they couldn't beat Peyton Manning. So it was just like, well, you're fucked either way. It's either you lose here with Brady or you lose there with Peyton, and they lost there with Peyton. All right. So Joel, you put Michael Thomas up. That was your second name. Didge, what's your second name?
Justin Jefferson.
Ooh, fancy.
He's putting those numbers up with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback.
Right? I don't disagree with you at all. Only reason he's not in my top 5 is because there is another receiver that is underrated that I just fucking love with all my heart. That's the only reason. It's not because I don't think Justin doesn't belong there. Because like you said, if he could do that with Kirk Cousins, picture if you gave this motherfucking Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, Brady, like, the elite guys. It's just like, well, he'd be fucking Randy Moss tomorrow. Right. So I definitely, I'm with you on his name making it in there. My second name that I'm putting up there is Terry McLaurin.
Cummings. Oh
no. Terry of the Washington. Was it Washington Cobra Commanders? Was it GI Joe?
Commanders?
The Washington. The Washington Masturbators. Whatever. Anyway, Terry is a very underrated.
They should have stayed the Washington football team.
They should have been like Washington Warriors or some shit that just like rolled off the tongue better. Commanders. You're gonna forget that.
I got used to Washington football team. I enjoyed it after a while. I got used to it.
I don't get me wrong. I still prefer. I'll take Commanders over football team. It just seems so uninspiring.
Football team very much seemed like it's a placeholder, and
I got used to it. They should have stayed.
Football team.
The Washington football team. It felt very soccer.
Most generic fucking name.
And the main reason, Didge, why I hated it so much, and again, I understood that it was a placeholder, is when you start to name other football teams with that plain ass name, it starts like the New York Football. What the fuck?
The New York football team?
Hell no! What the fuck is that?
It starts to feel very soccerish.
That's why I was like, yo, just call them the Pigskins and go get it over with. Like,
because somewhere an animal rights activist is like, pigs deserve love. But yeah, think about what Terry has been able to do with worse quarterbacks than fucking Kirk Cousins over the last few years.
Who is Washington's quarterback? Shit.
Remember they went and traded for what's his name?
Well, right now,
no, this year I know it was going to be this year. I'm talking last year. Who was their quarterback?
Last year was the kid. It was the kid. The walk-on. Remember the walk-on that played in the playoff game against Brady?
He was good too.
He was solid.
Yeah. He held his own.
I don't remember.
Forget his name.
I can't remember his name either.
Yeah.
Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, Taylor
Heineke. Yeah, look. Oh yeah, they
Heineke. Yeah.
That's right. They had Ryan Fitzpatrick too. That's the one I was.
Yes, he got injured, and Taylor Heineke. Yeah, Taylor Heineke had to step in, and he played that playoff game against Brady. And look, they held their own. Unfortunately, at the end of what lost Washington that playoff game was, remember, that was the game that Chase Young went out on the injury.
Yeah.
He got injured in that playoff game. And once you didn't have Chase Young to make Brady's life hell, Brady just started dotting and diming motherfuckers up left and right. And it was just like, well, nothing to stop him now. But yeah, Terry, I think, look,
Terry.
I hope Carson Wentz can become Carson Wentz of old, because if he can, him and Terry will be a magical connection. They damn sure will be.
I can't have those same wishes. They're too close to home.
No, I understand that for you.
They're in my division.
Again, remember, Joel. What do I always tell you? I'm talking statistically. I don't need it to equate to wins. If Washington wins no games for the next decade, I could care less. I just want Terry to put up numbers. I'll give a damn if that turns into wins. Like, it don't make me no difference. I just want them to put up good numbers. That's it. So if they lose out completely, God bless them. So that's my second name that I put up there. All right, so I only have one name left. What is everybody else looking like? How many names you guys got left? So now,
I think I got 3.
Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Michael Thomas have been named. All right, so Joel, what's your third name?
What's my third name? I'm gonna
go
go
with because I got 2. Oh no, that's right. It is third because somebody said Devontae Adams, or Joel said Devontae Adams.
I said Devontae
yeah,
Adams.
He said Devontae Adams.
That's how I got to 3. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got it. So I'm on my third, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp.
You took mine. Yeah, that was my last one.
Sorry.
Cooper Kupp.
That's
no. I'm saying that was my last one. It was Cooper Kupp. That was my last. I mean, yeah, he had a. I don't think Cooper Kupp is top 5. It's just you can't not put him in when a motherfucker just got the Triple Crown. Not a lot of people can say they have that.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So there's no way to leave him out. There's no way to leave him out. So that's why he made my top 5.
So I got 1 left.
Okay. All right. Well, Joel, after this, how many do you have left? Do you have any other names that aren't the names that have been said so far?
That haven't been said yet? Yeah.
I don't want you to go search for them. If it's been said already and that was on your list, then that's fine. I want you to search for it.
I'm whiffing right now. I think I have only one person that was on the top of my head that hasn't been said yet.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to you after Didge then. So hold on to that unless Didge says it. Didge, what's your final one?
DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Phenomenal name.
He was hurt. Yeah. That's literally it.
100%.
When he's healthy, he's one of the best
right now. So
and he is suspended. Yeah, for a few games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they got what's the Hollywood, so
yeah. But that also doesn't mean anything. DeAndre Hopkins can come in and in like the last 6 games go for 200 each.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how talented he is. So that's a perfect pick. And he was lucky to go from Deshaun Watson to Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
So there was no tremendous drop off between the two. There was a slight one because I think Deshaun is a better quarterback than Kyler Murray.
But it wasn't crazy.
It wasn't crazy at all. All right. So that was your last one, right, Didge?
Yep.
Okay. Joel, what was the last one you had?
Tyreek Hill.
Oh, I went back and forth between him and DeAndre and Hopkins.
See, only reason I never went with Tyreek Hill is I want to see, because to me, a lot of times with wide receivers, I usually go X's and O's, and he's not a good route runner at all. He just outruns you. He just outruns you to get open. He's just faster than you. That's it. Yeah, that's really it. So I usually like to go with the more fundamental people. So the name that I was thinking about putting in this list, if I didn't have Cooper Kupp there, was going to be Amari Cooper. The motherfucker runs some of the best routes in the NFL and has some of the best feet in the NFL. I really like Amari Cooper. When his motor is on, that motherfucker's on. But the problem is getting him to be on 24/7. Yeah, so maybe he could do it this year with Deshaun Watson. Who knows? Maybe he can make it into my top 5. Because I can tell you this right now, Cooper Kupp won't even come remotely close to what he did last year. This year, because think about it, your best cornerback is going to be guarding Cooper Kupp every single fucking game now. Whereas last year, a lot of people were just like, well, we know Cooper Kupp was good, but no one knew he was this fucking good. Now I'm going to put my best defender on him and let's see what he does. So I think he'll have a great year. He just won't have anywhere near this kind of year that he just had.
Yeah, he's not putting up 1,900 yards again.
Yeah, not at all. And again, I don't mean that like, anybody else could. Everybody would probably have a drop off having a phenomenal year like that.
Right.
I'm just stating that now it's like, and I'm not comparing them, but I looked at Cooper Kupp this year the same way that the world in that stretch looked at Jeremy Lin, right? Remember what Miami said when they went into that regular season game against Jeremy Lin? Mario Chalmers was just like, I watched so much fucking tape. No one ever picks this motherfucker up full court. I'm going to pick him up full court, see what he does. He wasn't the same in that game, right? So it's like once the people kind of get adjusted to you, let's see how successful you can be. And Jeremy Lin was a good player after that.
I look nowhere at him like that Peyton Hillis year, where it's still gonna be a serviceable year after that, but it's not gonna be that breakout year like that you had. Because Peyton Hillis, like his numbers weren't awful afterwards. I know he dealt with some injuries and stuff, but like for a couple years afterwards, his numbers were decent.
Peyton Hillis is also one of the main reasons why people believe that Madden curse was real. That motherfucker fell off tremendously.
Well, he got hurt next year.
No. I'm saying as far as like when you look back, like when you show people that cover, a lot of people are like, I don't know who the fuck that is, right? Because that's how far he fell. Not just from that season to the next season. I mean, just overall.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why I want to talk about the year right after, because after that next season, after that, I think he fell off even more. But like his numbers, they were still serviceable because he got hurt. But he was on the same track record.
Right.
So that's sort of what I mean.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Sean Alexander did the same thing.
Yep, that's another one. Yeah.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
Thought he was
that
was Tiki.
That's funny. They do look alike. That 1 year though it went to the Super Bowl, so it's like, well,
I mean, he had a couple years.
No, but I'm saying that 1 year.
Oh yeah, that year. Yeah,
he ran him to the Super Bowl.
Specific year.
Yeah. All right, so that's all we got for football. This is the last thing I want us to talk about. So Aaron Donald got extended for 2 more years, 40 to 60 million for the next 2 years to extend his deal. So I wanted to ask this, right? So you look at Matthew Stafford, what he did last year. You look at Cooper Kupp, what he did last year. And then you look at Aaron Donald. I want to ask you, just on the Rams, not overall NFL, who is the most valuable player on that Rams team heading into next year? You got Cooper Kupp. You got, even if you want to throw in Jalen Ramsey, you can. If you want to throw him in, you can. So we'll say Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. Top 4. Didge, I'll start with you. Who is the most valuable person on that team?
I think I might go Aaron Donald. That line lost a lot. And I think, at least I think it did. I'm trying to remember. I feel like that line.
Von Miller went to Buffalo.
Well, no, I know that, but I feel like they lost more than just Von Miller.
Yeah, they lost. I think it was Anderson or Henderson. One of the two. I think he also left also.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So but either way, that line was the start of their defense. That rush, and he was by far the best player from that rush. So he did. It's not like he's going to get any worse. He's only his 9th year. So it's like he's still relatively young. He has relatively good injury, stays away from injury. So I think if you're looking at anything that's going to bring them even close to back to where they were, it's going to start with that defense, and that's always going to start with that line.
I'm going Aaron Donald also. I think Aaron Donald is one of the more valuable players in all of the NFL. I think what a lot of people gloss over is that Cooper Kupp had the quote-unquote game-winning touchdown. But if Aaron Donald doesn't do what he does for 4 downs on the Bengals' final drive, there's a good chance the Bengals might drive it down and win that game.
They had an open pass.
Yeah.
But just didn't have an open pocket.
And who collapsed that said pocket? Aaron fucking Donald.
Right.
It also didn't help that Cincinnati Bengals offensive line was pure tissue paper. But even if they were full strength, greatest of all time, Aaron Donald is a fucking monster. I obviously wasn't really alive, I consider it, during the times of Lawrence Taylor. But if Lawrence Taylor was everything that everyone always hypes him up to be, Aaron Donald is that for this generation. 100%. Yes. I think JJ Watt before, and then it was passed on to Aaron Donald. 100%. He is just a one-on-one. There is nobody in the modern day that could have ever stopped in modern day Aaron Donald or JJ Watt in his prime. There's just no one. There's no one. You can't one-on-one.
Aaron Donald is that dominant, and he still gets double teamed most plays.
And yes, and he gets through the double team to still get your quarterback. Man is phenomenal. I asked this question because it was brought up on Undisputed, and Shannon was saying that he values Aaron Donald more, and Skip was saying he values Matthew Stafford because he has the ball in his hand. And Shannon made the greatest point ever, which is, yes, you value obviously the quarterback because they obviously have the most control. But here's the thing. You want to know what helps your said quarterback is when I take the football out of the opposing quarterback's hands to put it back in your fucking hands. right? So instead of you having to continuously score to stay in the game, I now have this motherfucker strapped at 14 points. We now have 38. You now have the freedom to do whatever the fuck you want to do because I locked him up. He has no room to do anything. To me, I value that more because you make your quarterback's jobs easier when the other team just can't score because they can't get any momentum. You're squashing it every time. You're squashing it. You know what I'm saying? And I imagine as a quarterback, that's what you face anytime you went up against Deion Sanders, Darrelle Revis, to where you're looking at a whole side of the field and you're like, I can't even fucking throw to the whole other side of the field. I'm now focusing on this side. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like that has to be demoralizing. So to me, I'm always going to go defense first. Even when I do my fantasy drafts in Madden, I draft defense first, right? Because I could just find any. What did we just say? We just said Matt Ryan is a top 20 quarterback. So if I'm doing a fantasy draft, guess where Matt Ryan falls? In that bottom half of that 20. So I can find not Matthew Stafford. I can find Matt Ryan towards the bottom. But I want to get an Aaron Donald first, a fucking Jalen Ramsey first. One of those guys that can constantly disrupt. So it makes my quarterback's jobs easier. So Joel, you were shaking your head also. So you're going Aaron Donald also.
Defense first. It's the giant way, baby.
I mean, that's how you won your 2 Super Bowls. 100%.
Put him on his ass.
100%. 100%.
They won all of their Super Bowls.
Who cares? Point is we won.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That's how they won all the Super Bowls.
Yeah, no, there's no lie there. There's no lie there. I mean, shit. Talk about the Giants. You know what I'm saying? They showed you why that's so important. Eli Manning didn't have to do much, right? It was essentially just don't fuck up, right? Which he didn't. Don't fuck up. We're going to manage this game to where you just got to get one more touchdown than that guy. Not 3 more, not 4 more. You don't have to get 8 touchdowns in this game. 1 more touchdown than the other guy. That's it. We're going to manage this game to where it's easy for you. Very easy for you. Just don't fuck it up, right? And that's the best possible thing you could ever ask for is that a defense puts you in a situation to where the other team's stuck at 14. You just got to get 17. Are you fucking serious? That's a quarterback's wet dream. What? Hell yeah. Fuck it. Shit. I got you in position. Kick the field goal. We win. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's why I always overvalue defensive players. Is because if I can disrupt your quarterback and make this a manageable game, I trust my team enough to where I can do what needs to be done. And especially if you're on a game-winning drive, bitch, I'm sacking you. I'm intercepting you. I'm strip sacking, whatever the hell. So to me, I'm with you guys. Right. Yep. So yeah, I'm glad we're all in the agreement there because I was like, I was curious to see if someone was going to go somewhere else here.
You just want to talk shit about Stafford. It all comes down to like, it can't be Stafford.
No. If you guys had said Stafford, I wouldn't have argued it in the sense of it doesn't make sense. I would have argued it in the sense of him throwing that game-winning touchdown would have meant nothing if Aaron Donald didn't give that offensive line the shits for 4 straight downs in that Super Bowl. It would have meant we would have forgotten about it. We would have forgotten about that beautiful corner of the end zone Cooper Kupp pass and catch if Joe Cool was able to go right back down and win that game. We would have forgot all about that shit. I say all the time, no one ever talks about that beautiful floater that Brady gave Randy Moss in that 2007 Super Bowl to what should have won that game. No one ever remembers it. Why? Because they fucking lost. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying it's nothing against Matthew Stafford. It's purely just if that defense didn't do its job, specifically Aaron Donald, it might have been erased from history because no one would have ever remembered that shit. So that's all I'm saying. But all right, let's move into basketball. Now, you guys know how much I despise Richard Jefferson, but he was preaching the gospel on this next topic. And that topic was Adam Silver is possibly looking at shortening the 82-game season for the players today. And Richard Jefferson, again, I'm paraphrasing, was going along the lines of how much more can we coddle today's players? You know what I'm saying? And I think my support to what Richard Jefferson is saying is the biggest thing for me is picture playing 82 games back in the day where you could be as physical as you want, right? So picture going up against some of the most grittiest motherfuckers that are there just to put an elbow in your throat. And you got to play that kind of style of basketball day in, day out, 82 games. There is no resting. I just want to rest, right? And you got to do that over the course of 82 games. They manage that. The game today is drastically softer than it was. And I'm not saying that in the sense of I wish it would go back to what it was. I'm fine to where it is today. I'm just saying you don't have the physicality. So it's like, I don't understand. You want to shorten it for what? Because it's wear and tear on your body? Because here's my problem. And I'm going to pass it off to you to start us, Didge. Here's my problem. When you tell me a player like James Harden needs rest, can't do 82 games, needs rest, he's getting up there, I would say to you, I've seen numerous Instagram videos to where he looks pretty fucking healthy in a strip club. He doesn't look like a guy that needs rest on his knees, that needs rest on his body, that needs to be at home or with a trainer. He looks as though life is great when he's not playing basketball. You want to know who else I saw that from? Andrew fucking Bynum. Andrew Bynum was known. Oh, his knees are shot. Oh, he needs rest. This motherfucker's bowling. You're bowling with hurt knees? Why are you resting somewhere? So to me, I don't think it needs to be shortened. I think players need to suck it the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Play the 82 games. If you're actually injured, you get the rest. If you're not injured, play the game. I don't understand. Where's the drive to want to play? It just seems like players don't have that today, and that bothers me. Didge, I'll start off with you. What are your thoughts on the possibility of shortening 82 games?
I'm gonna be honest, from a fan perspective, like the player's perspective, I think you got a lot of it. From a fan perspective, I say do it. It's not gonna change. People are gonna rest, whatever, that's gonna happen. So now you aren't getting that instance of, oh, you saved all this money to go to a Knicks game, or you're going to a Cavs game, but because it's the rest game, such and such isn't playing tonight. And it's like, so now your product is watered down that night because players are going to rest. So fuck it. Give them what they want then and say, we gave you your more rest days. Now, if you miss games still, now we got to talk. Now we have a reason that it's, you might forfeit some game checks or something, because it's now you have your built-in rest days. But clearly, I guess 82 games is too much for them, and it's watering down the product for fans, not overall, but on a particular night basis, where a player may not want to go into Oklahoma City and play. So they're not, I'm hurt tonight. But like you said, they're down in Dallas partying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, fine. You want to be able to do that? You don't go to Oklahoma City if you're in the West 2-3 times. You go once. You better be there. Do it that way.
I think, and Didge, me and you have had this conversation back and forth, but my biggest problem is, just like I said with changing the overtime rules, right? I believe once you do that, Pandora's box is open and you'll never close it. And what I mean by that,
though,
for basketball,
you don't think so? Players are already. We haven't seen Kawhi since 2019 or some shit like that. Like 2020.
No. I get that. But if you're saying you're gonna shorten the season, that won't change that. That motherfucker will find a way to sit out 30 of the next 48.
But that's
games.
what I'm saying. So then what you do is you put it. I'm assuming they're gonna put it to like 65, 66. I can't.
To me, I believe if you're saying the biggest issue is making it harder for players to sit out that are actually healthy, to me, then you got to look deeper into that than into shortening the season. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, apparently the way that this was said, and again, I don't know this specifically, but the way that this was said on when Richard Jefferson was breaking it down was that it was a way to avoid the wear and tear. So when we get to the playoffs, it's not these star guys that are out with these groin injuries or these big time knee injuries or whatever the case may be. It's just opening it up so you can get a healthy playoffs, so you can get the best possible product.
And also, to be fair, we don't need 82 games to know what team should and shouldn't make the playoffs. We don't need 82 games for that. That's what I'm saying from a fan perspective.
I'm watching baseball right now, and there's like 182 games in that shit. I don't need that.
They need to shorten that too. But
Baseball definitely needs to be shortened.
Yeah,
here's how bad baseball is. It was a Monday the Mets were playing the Dodgers. They were still playing these motherfuckers on Thursday. And I'm like, I'm not watching 4 straight days of playing the same goddamn team.
Yeah,
like
that happened with
stressful.
the Brewers. That happened with the Brewers. I remember they were playing the Padres last Thursday. And I was all right. I saw like the score from the Sunday game. I was like, damn, they played the Padres Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, hell yeah. Like, could you picture that? Like, all right, the Bucks are playing the Celtics for 4 straight days, and you're like, oh, playoffs. No, regular season. What the fuck? What? Why?
Yeah.
Like, why? Switch it up. But I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, like I said, from a fan perspective, I'm not even talking about players needing a rest or whatever. I think Pandora's box on that is already open. Like I said, we haven't seen Kawhi since 2020, maybe? Since the bubble. We haven't seen Kawhi since the bubble. And the bubble feels like it was forever ago.
Pre-pandemic.
4 years ago. Yeah, like 4 years ago.
So I think that's going to happen. What you need to look at now is what gives us the best opportunity for a better product on the court. And one, maybe you do get more players who don't sit out if you take it to like the 66 games, but also after about 65 games, we know what teams are the best 8 teams in each conference, or I guess 10 now with the play-in. Do we really need the other ones? Probably not.
Yes and no. No, fundamentally, but I'd say yes, more so from a standpoint of usually every year, it's that one team that has that late push. Right?
Not in the
last
like 15 games, I feel like.
Yes and maybe no. Sometimes it does come down to that. Because sometimes you're 6, 7, and 8, sometimes these last few years, they seem very interchangeable. Like whoever 9, 10, and 11 is could easily swap spots. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you kind of do need that late stretch to see if those teams can swap out. But again, it doesn't happen every single year. So that's why I said I'm not necessarily arguing it, but sometimes some teams do need that stretch. All right, I put in my final push. You know, you kind of let your foot off the gas, or you lost a player in injury, and now I can go full bore. You know what I'm saying? So again, to me, I'll say this, Stitch. If you're doing it just to reduce players being able to take a large amount of time off, or you're worried about wear and tear heading into the playoffs, that's my issue. You find other ways to rectify those two problems. If you're saying from a standpoint of it's just too many games, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the viewership goes down over the last 25 games or whatever the case may be. Sure. From a business standpoint, sure. But if you're saying you're doing it to further coddle the already further coddled NBA players of today, that's my issue. That's what I don't like. That's where I'm like, I have no interest in that.
You want to know when the last time the East changed, the top 10 in the East changed this year? February 7th. The top 10 in the East were the same ever since February 7th.
What about the West? Look at the West, Stitch.
I'm going to that next. The East was the first one that showed up.
Yeah, the East was, the East kind of solidified itself in like December. We were kind of like, I kind of know. Like the Nets was probably the biggest surprise of how far they dropped. But outside of that, it was pretty solidified. The Cavs were the biggest shock. Of like how far they went up, and the Nets were the biggest shock of how far they fell. Outside of that, everything else really just made sense, like where everyone was.
The Knicks decided to win games at the end.
The West,
right? Yeah, at the end, not at the beginning.
The West had more of a drop, and that's just because LA collapsed.
Right.
But all other 9 teams, ever since they were pretty much solidified March 16th. It was just the Lakers collapsed from there.
Like I said, if you're telling me you want to reduce it for business purposes, I understand that. I have no issues. No issues in that. That's just like when the NFL decided to extend it for business purposes. I don't have a problem with that. But it's when you're reducing it for the players, don't fucking give them any more olive branches. These motherfuckers seem like they get lazy as it is, and you want to give them more opportunities.
That's going to be an unintended result, no matter what.
But that's what I'm saying. As long as that's not the reason why you're doing it, I'm fine with it, is what I'm trying to say. But if you're doing it for them, no, that's my problem. That's where my problem lies. Joel, how you looking at this situation?
Similarly, I don't want to see it get reduced. I don't know, seeing less of it. I don't like that sound of it. Though I'm still right now like upset that it's still going on because I want the offseason to start already.
Right.
It started on Christmas.
I will say this though, what Didge is forgetting about Joel, because we're Knicks fans, right? And more recently, sometimes we've experienced it more. Didge is forgetting, like for Didge, when he gets to that halfway point, the Bucks are what? Top 5 already, right? They're not usually going to drop any lower than 5. So it's solidified they're making the playoffs. It's not always a guarantee for us. So sometimes it's just the idea of, well, I still just want to see them develop some guys. And that's what like the last 15 games are for.
I want to watch them play basketball. I mean, just because they suck doesn't mean I don't want to watch them play. Or I wouldn't be a Knicks fan.
I'm like, sometimes that extra 15
Did you stop watching the Bucks when they were asked? I don't think you did.
I did it. But after like 65, 66 games, I'm like, I want to start watching games that matter. Like,
Here's the thing. Especially, let me just talk this year, not all-time Knicks. This year alone, we had to sit through a whole season of Tibbs refusing to play players on the roster that are better than the ones you're starting. And then at the end of the year, when it didn't matter anymore, is when he started playing the motherfuckers. And now I'm like, well, now this is interesting basketball to watch for the Knicks. Now they're putting a better product on the court. So now I'm like, now I can look at that and maybe take that into next year of like, well, maybe we could utilize this more. So for us, that's more so of like a dry run of what next year can be. So sometimes it is
anti-tanking. You know, it was like we were trying to win games, and because he's so stubborn, we were losing games. By the time he gave in, the younger guys were better than what we were playing, so we were winning games. So it worked backwards. Like I think we won like 2 games in February. Like what the fuck was that? But then after that, we were pretty good. February was the worst month. We had the most games that month. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. It's fucking annoying. Right.
But no, I just wanted to say sometimes those extra 15 games mean something to us.
Also, by the way, I don't like this image that you're putting on me. Like, oh, I'm so privileged. The Bucks.
You are privileged.
I'm not. The Bucks have been on a good run. Let's not act like
you won a championship last year. You have no more.
Hold on, time out. Joel, we were sitting here debating on whether or not Giannis was number 1 in all of the NBA.
Yeah.
I don't have a top fucking 15 player. And you're sitting here like, I'm not privileged. What?
20.
Let's not act like the Bucks. Let's not act like the Bucks have been a marquee franchise all my life or whatever.
No, but the last few years you have a top 5 player, top 3 player.
All bougie and
shit. We barely got top 20, and you sitting here like, that's like a Cavaliers fan saying, well, we didn't win all of the finals the 10 years LeBron took us. Bitch, you went to the finals. You're privileged.
You had LeBron. You actually had him on the team.
I don't like this image that you guys are putting out of me.
You're privileged. I tell you what. When we get a top 10 player, then we can sit here and have a conversation of we understand.
Not just a top 10 player, a guy that might be top 10 player all time.
Yeah, all time. Yeah.
I was hoping you guys didn't remember that part.
Yeah, of course we remember that part. Bitch, you had a player that was defensive player of the year and MVP. What are we talking about? Come on now, man.
You're not allowed to complain.
No, hell no. Hell no. That's like a Bulls fan the year Jordan was gone and they just had Pippen like, man, it's rough out here. Bitch, you had straight years of Jordan.
I still get mad at Bulls fans for being upset. You won 6 championships. You talk to me again about being bad.
You took over a decade. You took over a full fucking decade. You don't get to complain ever. Ever.
For real.
So yes, you're privileged, Didge. You're privileged.
Fair enough.
But I'm sorry, Joel. Go ahead, Joel.
No, I mean I've said what I had to say. Just frustrated. That's all. I want to see basketball until I love basketball. Like once the finals are over, we get into the off season. I summer league. Let's go. I can't wait. So I get really excited.
Yep. And look, I just want to make this clear. I don't stand on ceremony in the sense of I don't want it to stay 82 games because it's always been 82 games. Like I said, if you want to change it for business purposes, I can wrap my head around that a lot better than you wanting to just conform to your players that I feel as though are already catered to enough.
I just don't feel like, I guess because I'm comparing it to baseball, which is super excessive.
I want them to cut to and hockey. All three of them should cut down.
I don't need. Unless whatever the games are fine. I don't think we need to cut them. We want to cut what? How many? How many are we talking here?
I say 66 for hockey and basketball. Baseball, you could damn near cut them like in half. You don't need 100.
Yeah, you can put baseball at 82. You can put baseball right at 82.
I think that's like half.
Yeah, call it a fucking day. At that point, it's just like, what are we doing here?
I don't need 162 of those. I don't need 82 of hockey and basketball. Like
baseball is so long. Baseball is so long. You got people that are saying, I'm not interested till July and August. And that's damn near towards literally the end of the season. Yeah. So if you got people that believe in it that way, you got a problem. You should maybe trim some of that. Basketball to me is equally as important as football. Every game matters, especially because at the drop of a hat, a team could just go on like this crazy ass run, right? So it's like you can't just go. Look at Milwaukee and Boston, right? Look at how a lot of people were saying, well, shit, you might have wanted home court for that game 7. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it does sometimes come down to, all right, well, we decided we wanted to rest these few games, and now you lost them, and the other team won them, and now the positions go to the other team that played in those last few games.
What we have gotten home court? When did I say February?
Yeah,
we easily would have gotten home court.
100%. So that's what I'm saying. That's why we're trying to tell you these games matter. These games do matter. These games do matter. Again, I kind of just feel as though at that point, Giannis had just been completely tired out from carrying that franchise on his back. Home court or no home court, I don't know if he would have had it in him to do any more than what he already did in that game.
No,
7.
we needed Middleton back. We needed.
I mean, to be fair, role players always play better at home. So maybe you could have had
games. We already had lost game 6 at home.
No, that's fair, but I'm saying if you had a game 7 at home, maybe that could have been enough to propel your role players. You know what I'm saying? It might have been. You never know. It might have been. But all right, let's move on. Now, this one, Joel thought he was stressed out before. He'll really be stressed out on this one. I specifically left it out to surprise you with this topic. So I'm starting off with you, Joel. They were flirting with the idea. Again, this isn't anything that's concrete or has any legs. It was just being floated around of the idea of the NBA taking away positions for all NBA. So taking away positions, and it's just the best 15 players, not by position, just the best 15 players. I already know where you're going to go, but I want to hear it anyway, so I'm shutting up. Joel, the floor is yours. Would you be okay if they made that switch?
All NBA?
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Really?
I don't mind, no. Because to me, that doesn't matter. On the court, that's not true.
Yeah. The NBA is like, all right, for all NBA, there's no positions. So I was like, as long as you acknowledge it on the court, you got it.
On the court, that's not true. I don't. You put your point guard at center. We'll go from there.
Magic Johnson, I'm sure, has something to say about that. He's like, bitch, I did play.
There's a couple of freaks out there, but those are very far, few and far between.
That's true.
That's not a common thing. Positionless is made for what they call a superstar. Those are positionless players. Every other fucking player in the league probably has a hole they fit in. You know what I mean? So they have positions. Those are called positions.
Yeah, I couldn't put Kyrie Irving on fucking Jason Tatum and tell him, hey, go play defense.
Go play in the post, Kyrie. Go do your thing.
Yeah, I get you. And it's so crazy because I didn't hear the word positionless basketball until centers started to become essentially just stretch fours.
Like 10 years ago when their centers were like the dinosaurs almost.
It's when all the European players started really showing out.
Because I mean, look, the way European players usually play basketball is that it does seem like it's essentially positionless. Like anybody can kind of just rotate because you don't usually have those massive motherfuckers all the time. Sometimes you just
they are the
kind of
motherfuckers most of the time.
I was about to say most of the time your rosters look identical, right? Like it's not like this one team has Giannis, everybody else just has, you know what I'm saying, like 5'6" guys. Like usually their rosters are comparable. You got a 7-footer, I got a 7-footer. You got a 5, you know what I'm saying? So it's more so just balanced out all the way around. So they just look at it like I can just kind of just rotate a lot of this, rotate it in and out, and then it didn't help with the Warriors doing their fucking death lineups. It didn't help.
Draymond Green is only playing power forward or center. It's not and yes, he plays more like a point guard because he's a really good passer.
Right.
But he's passing from where? The post most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He can run. He can do a lot of things, but he's very. How many Draymond Greens are there in this league?
I'd say none.
That's my point.
There's one. There's Draymond Green.
Oh yeah, and it also didn't help. It also didn't help when not Steve Nash, when Mike D'Antoni was trying to preach the narrative of, hey, I could put PJ Tucker at my 5 and win games.
And did they? Yo.
He said I could win a championship this way, and it was just like, I don't think so. I think that'll be a problem. I don't. I think that'll be a big problem for you, Mike D'Antoni. Okay, so I'm very shocked. I definitely thought that you would want each position properly compensated.
No, I when it comes to All NBA, I don't care because there's probably more. There are probably more star wings and guards than there are bigs. But as long as bigs are acknowledged as a position, the problem is we say point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. When realistically we play really 3 positions. Like there's the point, there's the wings, and then there's the big man. Right. That's how basketball is played. You can't tell me you don't play with a big man. That's a lie.
Fair. So then I have to ask you this before I pass it to Didge. Would you still have put Ciacom in your All NBA if they eliminated positions?
I don't know. I would have to look at
okay. No problem. Not holding you to it. No problem. Not holding you to it. Didge, I'll start off with the same question I just asked because me and you were struggling to keep Ciacom in that motherfucker. But Joel kind of broke it down to us of like, well, they're going by 4s, and can you give me a better 4? But now we're looking at it.
He would have definitely been out.
Right, but now we're looking at it, and we're like, well, if we're eliminating positions, you're not in my top 15. Like, you're in my top 20, not in my top 15.
if off the top of my head, there might have been a couple of guys off that All-NBA team.
If we're eliminating just by position.
if we're doing just,
That's fair. That's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah, I don't know if, like I said, Ciacom, I don't know if he makes it. Actually, not as many as I thought. So,
I'm just saying, there's a glut at point guard. There's a shit ton of point guards.
Yeah.
There's a weak. I'll tell you right now. Give me a second. There's weakness. Power forwards weak. It's not a lot.
Small forwards aren't weak. That's for sure.
Huh? Small forwards.
I said small forwards are not weak. That's for sure.
Honestly, power forwards aren't that. They didn't have a lot of power forwards because they're including Durant as a power forward. It looks like.
Right.
Well, he did play a lot of power forward.
I know they were classifying Jason.
Yeah.
They were classifying Jason as a 4 for a while.
Yeah, and he played a lot of 3.
I'm assuming they got him as a 3.
No, they have him as a 3, but he was a 4 for a while.
Well, the last couple of years he was a 4 until like Horford came back and he was more now a 3. But for the last couple 2-3 years he was a 4. Yeah.
Right.
But no, actually, honestly, Ciacom was the one that probably wouldn't make
that. Was the only glaring one because, like, and again, I want to make this clear. No one thinks Ciacom is a bad player, that he doesn't necessarily deserve any praise for how well he plays. I'm just saying it's when you look at that list.
Better.
Right, but I'm saying it was when you look at that list, his name just stands out as like, did he have that good of a fucking year? And then when Joel's like, well, compared to other power forwards, and then you're like, yeah, that's true. But now when you're talking about against the rest of the NBA, you can then go, well, no.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's
not at all.
My only thing, and yes, compared to other power forwards, yeah, he was the top 5 power forward.
100%.
But that's with if you were counting Kevin Durant and LeBron as power forwards, and then because you could have this year because they played a lot of power forward. Right. If you weren't, then he'd even be a top 2 fucking power forward. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. He played a lot of power forward, mainly because Toronto wasn't healthy most of the year. If they were fully healthy, he probably would have played more center. But he didn't because they were mostly hurt. They were rarely ever all 5 of their main 5 guys are always healthy at the same time. And that was Toronto's biggest issue, is health.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like I said, it made sense when you broke it down. I completely understood it when you broke it down.
Yeah, if we're going by position, yeah, obviously. But that's what I'm saying. Power forward is weak because you have certain players that can play the 3 and the 4, and that's like Durant, like a LeBron. Like you could go Tatum can play 3 or 4. Ingram could play 3 or 4. You know, those are hybrid guys that can play those wings, high big wing. You know what I mean? Tobias Harris, at least back in the day, was a 3 or 4. Those kind of guys. And then you have guys that are 4 or 5s, like Anthony Davis. Like Giannis. Giannis is a 4 or 5. They're guys like those are hybrid guys, and just enabling them as this or that is hard. So that's why I just call them they're bigs, or they're big wings or point. Like whoever runs the point is your primary ball hand. Some teams have 2, but it's really always down to 1, right? And you have your wings, your shooting guard, your small forward, and your power forward. Most of the time are basically wings. Back in the day, it was different. Back in the day, the power forward was just another fucking center. They just clogged the paint. They're just there for rebounding, right? Now they're just an extra shooter. You know, most times they're just a bigger version of that. You know, that's kind of what it is. And then you have the one guy in the middle that does most of the rebounding, blocking shots. If you play traditionally, then you might have your center out there shooting shots, like maybe like a Miles Turner or like AAD and shit like that. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of variables. But I don't like saying positionless. Because at the end of the day, you want a tall motherfucker in there. You're not playing small guys. You're just not.
Right. No, like I said, I'm with you. I'm completely with you. I just thought it was a really good thing to shoehorn in there. All right, Didge, I'm going to start with you on this topic. I think it's kind of straightforward as far as like which side I would lean. But I'm just curious. So we always harken back to when Durant went to Golden State as like a bitch move. That's not to be denied. We all thought that was just like, come on, man, you just can't do that. So my question is to you, Didge and Joel. Should the Warriors signing KD get just as much shit as KD has for going there?
No. And as a team, it's your best interest to put your best foot forward. You always want to make sure you have the easiest and best path to the finals.
So does that not affect Curry's legacy? When we're talking,
didn't sign him.
He won before they got there. That's my thing.
Hold on. Hear me out. We're talking about a guy that's possibly going on to win 4 championships, right? And a finals MVP. 2 of those championships were given by Kevin Durant. So I'm saying if we look at those 2 championships for Durant as, well, they're slightly tainted because you had to go to the best team to win it. There is an argument to be had that there's a very good chance that Warriors roster minus Kevin Durant is not beating a healthy LeBron and Kyrie Irving that very next year. So I'm saying you look back at it and you're like, well, Curry needed Durant just as much as Durant needed Curry. Curry had just lost the year before Durant got there. It's not like he won.
But he also won the year before that.
He also won the year before
I get that. But the year after he lost, they got Durant. And then they just washed LeBron the next 2 years, right?
Yeah, it was overkill.
So what I'm saying is if there's no Durant, why would I be made to believe that team would do any better?
Because it's not like they
did that year before.
It's not like they got swept that year before. One, this is already a team that had beat Durant, so there's already that. But then it's not like they got swept. It took 7 games. It took a pretty much an epic collapse. And even in that situation, there were little things that if they would have went just the opposite direction, we wouldn't be talking about that. You know, if Draymond didn't lose, if he wasn't out game 5.
I don't like to do that because then I could tarnish your argument of the one that they did win because there was no Kyrie or Kevin Love for that full series when LeBron lost.
It is also true, which is I don't. If you don't like to do that, why are we doing it now though? Why are we talking about what could have happened in 17 and 18?
No. I'm saying should the Warriors in Curry's legacy be just as affected as we view Durant's legacy to be affected? Let's take Warriors out of it.
It wouldn't have been as much as a wash, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so
they maybe would have lost one instead of one of those 2.
Yeah, maybe.
So let me ask you this: Should Curry's legacy be looked at in that same vein? So would we still be looking to put him in our top 10 if he was only going on, let's say, to win 2 championships. This going on to be his 2nd instead of his 4th.
It depends on that. I mean, if it's just two champions, that's a lot. Believe it or not.
I'm not arguing. Shit, if you told me RJ had 1, I'd be arguing that motherfucker's
RJ,
top 5.
Knicks.
It's tough to
Recently,
say, to be honest. Because, like you said, it becomes the what if game.
There's a lot of that. But
what else? What else happened during those years? You know. So it's tough. Like, are we saying everything's the same except he has
the
2
year
championships versus
that's
3?
the thing. The year they lost that year that they got before they got Durant, but they also had the best record ever.
Yes.
Ever.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Say it again one more time. Ever.
I get it. I get it. But
there's a chance they could have won without him. The point is, there was always a chance they could have added someone else and had just enough to get over Cleveland, just to get there. But we'll never know because they went for the best player available, who happened to be the 2nd best player in the league at the time.
And I think that's also that's also the other part of it is with Durant's legacy, it was cementing him as the best player in the league. Whereas with Curry's legacy, he was never obviously there were some people who would say it, but overall, the majority wasn't saying, oh, Steph Curry is the guy of the NBA.
Those 2 years, those 2 MVPs back to back. Yes, they were.
Those were close.
Yes, they were.
Even still during that time, there was a just as loud contingent saying, well, LeBron should have got one of those.
Oh, 100%. But it was being asked, is he now the face of the NBA?
Yes, there was
and then it took Durant winning those 2 championships for it to be reduced back down to just LeBron versus Durant. That's it. There is nobody else in that conversation. Then Giannis was just like, hold my dick. And then they're just like, well, now Giannis, KD, or LeBron, right? But again, there was an argument, those 2, because remember, one of those MVPs was unanimous.
Right?
So, first time ever.
That man there was a point where he was right there, where I was like, man, he might be.
That's what I'm saying. So let's take away the first one. Let's just go unanimous. That unanimous year, there was a lot of voices saying, is he the face of the NBA?
Yeah. But I don't think it lasted as long.
No. It immediately left the day Durant got there. And it was like, well, that guy. And then Giannis, 2 years after that. And it was just like, well, Giannis, KD, LeBron.
But that's sort of the point I'm saying. With KD, it was always, even before he got there, when he was in OKC, it was, oh, he's on his way to becoming the guy of the league. Where with Steph Curry, when even when you want to say, sure, for those 2 years or whatever, 1 or 2 years, it was sort of like out of nowhere. It wasn't as expected as it was with KD. So that's where the legacy hit comes in.
But also, it does come down to what Joel was saying last week. One was the number 8 pick. One was the number 2 pick. Expectations are exponentially higher, right? Sure. You're playing with house money. And again, remember, Curry had those whirlwind of injuries to start his career in the NBA.
Really glass ankles.
Right. And then he sold his soul to the devil, and then he's been healthy ever since. So I'm saying a lot of Curry was more so just like, well, this is now house money, right? Can't stay healthy, but that's undersized, can't play any defense. The shooting thing can't last. And then he kind of just broke through all of it.
Well, that's the thing. He turned what he was in. That's why, because he's such an insane player. The fact that he was doing what he did in college, he ended up doing it in the NBA as well. Mm-hmm. It's not easy to transfer that kind of scoring ability from one place to the other. Nope. And he did it. He fucking did it with ease. Now, it took him a while because he was always hurt and he was a little fragile. But once he got there, there was a point where he was like, wow, this guy might be better than LeBron James. Now, again, that fell apart a little bit afterwards. But the fact that no one was expecting him to be, I never expected him to be a top 10 player all time. I never expected that. Kevin Durant, there was a point where like this man will be top 10 all time at some point. Then he bitched out. Asshole.
All right, we're gonna move on from that. No, I was just curious because you look at it and you're like, he was so inviting of Durant coming there, right? Like the organization, I get you. If you're an organization, you never turn down great players.
Yeah.
But if you're Curry, they were saying Curry was part of that plane ride that was recruiting this motherfucker.
Well, how do He's not Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is not going to recruiting anybody, right?
Derrick Rose is very clear. Like, I don't need it. Like, I don't need you. Yeah, if I can stay healthy, I don't need any of you.
Very friendly. They want everybody, you know. And Durant is a follower. So what does he do? He went to go. He took the easy way. It is what it is. He got his championships.
Yep, he's a lemon.
Bam! I'm the best player in the world with the best team ever at the time. You know?
So look, I'll say this: Durant, regardless of a bitch move or not, will go down as one of the top 10 greatest players of all time. Where you put him in that 10, not here to argue that. No, regardless of he bitches out, regardless of him bitching out, he's in there. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't think that truly affects his legacy at all.
I do.
You just look at Joel. You're telling me even going to Golden State, he's not in your top 10 of all time?
So he does something that changes it. Like
no. Going him having the title of bitching out, I'm not arguing that. I'm saying you're keeping him off your top 10 all time.
Oh no. Well, then
that's all I'm saying. So then it doesn't truly affect his legacy.
That will stain his legacy. I'm like, that kind of was weak.
To me, the only way that would truly, and I'm just speaking for my opinion, that would truly affect him is if I ever viewed Kevin Durant as one of the top 5 greatest players of all time. Because then I would have to go, well, then what separates my 1 through 5 from Durant?
That's to me where he was supposed to be. Like you a guy that good, you're looking to try to be one of the best players of all time, like LeBron level. Like I'm top 2 now, where no one expected that. I mean, it was hyped that he might, but like, come on, no one's gonna be. It's just so rare, you know. Durant was something like an oddity. Yeah. Someone that can dribble at almost 7 feet tall like that is not unreal. A guy that could shoot that good, unreal. To do what he was able to do. That's why I think it was so disappointing when he did what he did, because he ring chased before it was normally okay to do ring chasing, and it's like usually they do it on the backs of the young guys. Now he did it in his prime, where he basically became the prime offensive player of that team. Now, he was the best player on that team at that time, but that team was already fucking great.
Yeah, I don't argue that point of your argument at all. There's nothing to even talk about. You're absolutely right. My only issue always comes down to you're just in a time where they're telling you, every media member is telling you, you will never be in that upper echelon without a ring. I'll never view you as that, right? So I'm like, if he had stayed in OKC, it just felt like they were never going to win it all. They could get there, but never truly win it all. Right. And again, that's a what if game. So we don't necessarily have to go down that road, but it just felt like that. Right. Like, OK, even if you got past Golden State, it just seemed like versus LeBron, you needed overkill just to beat LeBron. Right. So it came down to you'll always be in the shadow of that. Right. With what they had. So to me, I look at it as like, if the pressure wasn't always, in order to be at that table, at that top 5 table, you need a ring.
LeBron was good and great, but he was never unbeatable. It's not like he had a great finals record. He had good final records. He won what? 4?
He also went to that motherfucker 10 straight times.
He went there.
You got to be a great motherfucker to get
correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna win a couple.
The only finals I will give you that LeBron just wasn't great.
Dallas
or unbeatable was the Dallas one. That was because he just completely collapsed. That Spurs one, it was just a way better team, right? It had nothing to do with LeBron's individual.
First one especially, yes.
Right. And then the other ones just was like Dwayne Wade just couldn't do it the same anymore. Chris Bosh had been regulated to just a corner pocket. So like there was no one else to take over a game but LeBron. And Kawhi and the motherfuckers was boxing his ass in. He just didn't have the legs to do it. Right. So to me, a lot of those losses that LeBron has, I look at it from a standpoint of individually, did you deliver? In that finals year where Golden State beat him with Durant, the motherfucker was averaging like 35 points. He led in points, assists, and rebounds.
He had to.
But that's my point. So I'm like, I can't put the loss solely on LeBron. Motherfucker did his job every night.
Well, we're giving the win solely on Durant.
Huh? No, hell no. Hell no. No, I'm not giving this solely on Durant. Hell no.
Said he was the best player during the finals.
Yeah, I think he was the best player.
So you're giving it all to Durant, but
No, two things could be true, Joel. Come on. Come on. LeBron, when they beat the Thunder in the finals, LeBron was easily the best player on that court. But if Dwayne Wade took 4 games off, you telling me they still beat the Thunder? Hell no. So you still needed them. It wasn't all because of you, but you still were the best player.
Like he's the best, but then when LeBron is really the best, like because he's working with less. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
If you're telling me you think LeBron was better than Kevin Durant in that series, no problem, no argument. I still believe that Durant, and again, with the best help you could possibly ask for, he did have the stats.
Don't get much better than that.
No, 100%. But yeah, to me, like I said, LeBron going to 10 straight, I look at a lot of those losses like that man did his fucking job. Like, where is everybody else?
But that's what I mean. But it wasn't unbeatable. You know what I mean?
The team wasn't. LeBron averaging 35.
Yes, but
should have any other day won that
game, and he only won what he could. He could only do so much.
You're right, and I'm saying individually, LeBron was unbeatable.
Yeah, but it's never you never count LeBron out in a finals.
Chinks in that armor. There were chinks all over that armor. But LeBron individually, yeah, that motherfucker was unstoppable. Averaging 35 and led everybody in points, rebounds, and assists
every time. Most of the
that
time.
should have won. That should have won that series every day of the week. Every day of the week, he should have won that series. That's what I'm saying. You look at LeBron and you're like, I know people always go Jordan. Hell, I go Jordan, but I swear to God, I come across a stat like every other day of LeBron's, and I just go, maybe he is number one. Like, maybe I do need to reevaluate this fucking thing. Because goddamn, is this man just fucking ridiculous? Ridiculous. Think about it. Jordan has never had to. If he wanted to, that's a whole nother conversation. He's never in those 6 wins had to guard the best player. It's what Pippen was there for. If he wanted to do if he wanted to do it, that's a whole nother conversation. When has LeBron had a defensive player, just purely defense, that he could say, look, you go guard Durant so I can go get 40 a night? He's never had that in his career.
And not his fault, but that's on the team.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying it makes his job a lot harder. I got to guard Durant and score on Durant. Bitch, that's hard.
That's expected.
Like,
You're supposed to, at that point, you guard the best player on the floor. You're LeBron James. He is Kevin Durant should be guarding him too.
I recall the finals where Scottie Pippen was locking up Magic Johnson. Michael won't guard him.
You got to do what you got to do. At the end of the day.
Come on, Joel. Come on, Joel. You just flip-flop in 3 seconds. You said,
no, Magic Johnson is not the scorer that fucking Michael Jordan is. It's different guarding Magic.
If you take Magic out,
he's not the same guy. You get what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying is the way Durant affects that game is what Magic does in a different way.
Different animal offensively than Magic Johnson.
If you take Magic Johnson out, you now disrupt that entire flow of that offense.
Yeah,
you
but
now have to switch
defending
around.
it is different than defending Kevin Durant. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get you from a scoring standpoint. But I'm saying to take Magic out now drastically swings that.
Very different. Like there's 2 different people.
I love where this conversation went because it took a turn.
I don't know, man, because like I said, I swear to God, it's every other day I hear something about LeBron and I just go, I didn't even fucking know that. Like I did. Goddamn. The man's been fighting mountains since 2003 or 4, whenever he was drafted. Like, goddamn. Insurmountable. Like, did we think he could beat the fucking Pistons? No one fucking saw that coming. Motherfucker was just dunking on their heads. Like, LeBron has just done some shit that's just like God damn.
LeBron.
Like, God damn. As a baby, this motherfucker carried the team to the finals.
Yeah. That's why he is the best of the modern day. It really is. Like,
when he retires, man, it's gonna be really interesting to put his career right up against Michael Jordan's. Just right there, and then just look at it. Stats, accolades, everything. Just look at it like, oof. I don't know, man. Ooh, 3 different teams, championships in each one of them.
Amazing. That bubble one is very sketchy, but the others are definitely.
To me, I can't count it like that. To me, everyone always makes it sound like the Lakers were the only team interested in playing basketball. Everybody else is like, I don't
disagree, but
everybody played hard, and Lakers were just better. I mean, shit, Jimmy Butler was doing what he did this year in the finals.
motherfuckers.
I mean, everybody else was still there.
Yeah,
they didn't leave.
That's not a player in the league by default.
What was Jordan in those 6 championships? The best player in the league.
That's what I mean. Like, that's what he's gonna win. That's my point.
Oh, I thought you were trying to wash it away. Like, he was the best player. Like, well, they had their best players too.
In the bubble, I'm like, I think he's the best player available. He ended up being the best player at the end of the day, and then a healthy AD helps.
Yes, every day of the week, and healthy AD helps. All right, let's move on. Utah hires. They didn't hire. They fired. Utah fired their coach.
He stepped down.
That bitch got fired. But okay, he stepped down. It was a mutual dumping. There we go. What did Thor say? It was a mutual dumping.
It wasn't.
It was a mutual dumping.
They wanted him to stay,
and he decided to leave.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he sounded like he was. He sounded like he was up. He was done.
It ain't easy to get head coaching jobs in the NBA today. So if that motherfucker
if he wants a job, he could get a job. Trust me, he could get a job. Quinn Snyder will get a job.
Not this year.
Let's believe. Well, how many openings are there right now?
None.
One?
None.
Not this year. Well,
Lakers could have waited. They didn't have to go with Darvin Ham. They could have waited.
Well, Quinn Snyder just literally quit. The same day. Actually, I was thinking, was it the same day that he got hired?
It probably was. I think so. It probably was. So my biggest question is, what do we think this means for Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert? Didge, I'll start off with you. What do you see happening with these two guys now?
One of them's for sure out. I think one of them were for sure out already.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I could see both saying I want out. Before it was sort of a crapshoot of who was going to go. But I think this cemented for sure that Donovan Mitchell's gone. You know, they said he was very, very concerned of the direction that the team is going. And I think to what we were talking about earlier about how it is everything the media is saying now is you got to win or your legacy is shit.
Right.
He's starting to get that. And so he's not going to stick around to something where he's concerned where this team is going. They're going to pretty much be going in an entirely new direction. So I could already for sure see him leaving now. With Rudy Gobert, it remains to be seen. I haven't heard much from him. It seemed like the writing on the wall was going to be, he was going to be like, it was him or me.
Mm-hmm.
And with this pretty much, I think, cementing Donovan leaving, he may be placated with that, but I could also see him saying, what the fuck was that? Get me out of here too.
Yeah, if you're Utah, you're shaking in your boots today, and here's why. You don't have that much draft capital, right? You play in a part of the United States that people don't look to flock to. And apparently you have a roster that flames out in the second round, if they even fucking get there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you got to make changes. There's not many options to make those said changes. And your second best player only blocks shots. That should be what your third best player does. Like, if your second best player can't score on his own at all, that's a fucking problem. So to me, I'm like, well, you've never truly set this team up to have really a long, successful run because your second best player was Rudy Gobert, right? So you look at a team like the Trailblazers that always seem to flame out. What they always had going for them is you had two guys that can go get you 40 at any given time, right? So it's like, as long as both of them don't flame out, which they usually do, you're like, I have a chance. And you did make it to the Western Conference Finals one year. You know what I'm saying? But if your second best player is Rudy Gobert, there's only but so much they could fucking do. Because now you're asking Ingles to be big time. Now you're asking Jordan Clarkson to be big time. And apparently those guys just can't do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, if you're Utah, you're doing whatever you can to keep Donovan there. You just are. You just are. You're telling him, hey, I'm getting rid of Rudy. What, you want Mark Jackson? I'll go get Mark Jackson. Whatever you want, I'll do it. I'll do whatever I can to keep you here. Because we still don't understand how OKC looked James Harden in the face, then looked Ibaka in the face, and then said, all right, James, I'm going to go ahead and get you up out of here. What the fuck? What? You thought you couldn't find a defender to replace Ibaka? You really thought you couldn't do that? Your sixth man can give you 30 any night, and you decided to ship that motherfucker out the door. Don't do that. If you got a player that can get 30 in today's NBA, that's what you hitch your horse to, not the defensive guy. But Joel, how do you see this playing out between Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert?
It really, they might want out. They might be done. And look, they might, and I think Utah should definitely consider just starting over. They should. I mean, like, how good are they right now?
No. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that's gonna be a dark ass 4 years for these motherfuckers. If
there's a fucking city that can handle it, it's Utah.
God bless you.
They've done it before. You know, it's not
they had. Well, time out. Here's the difference, though. There were more. No. This is exactly the same. When they lost Boozer and Darren Williams, yeah, this is exactly the same thing. Yeah, exactly the same thing.
They'll figure it out. They'll find something. They always do somehow.
You can make an argument, though. That Donovan Mitchell thing was one of those gambles that paid off really well.
It did.
It paid off really well.
But again, like Utah, they have a legacy. They're not championship legacy, but
it's still a legacy.
They have a good track record for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
They've lucked into some good draft picks, you know. And this is a good example of one. Rudy Gobert. I didn't expect Rudy to be this good. I think Donovan Mitchell. Who saw that?
And Jordan Clarkson was big for them in his six-man
ended up being really good. Look at that second scorer type. You know, he's been great. You know, 6 man of the year candidate every year. So like last 3 or 4 years, right?
Yep, and he won one. Yeah,
and he won one. Right, exactly. He's been really good, and they've had consistent good role players. They have an odd choice of Royce O'Neal always playing power forward, but they play small. Like whatever. I mean, it works for them. It works for them. And then the point guard situation is always kind of in flux. They brought in Mike Conley. That was a choice.
It worked for him a little bit.
It did. I mean, it did, but didn't they expected it to
I said a little bit. I said that's how little bit.
It wasn't for the amount of money Mike Conley got paid. It should have paid off more.
All I'm saying is you look at
problem.
Conley going to Utah and then Chris going to Phoenix, and you're just like, I thought you would do that, Mike. I thought you could do more so that than what you did. I mean,
even at his best, Mike Conley wasn't touching that. So it's like.
Well, I think if you got more so, I think if you didn't get end of his career Grizzlies, Mike Conley, and more so earlier on, it could have been more of a needle pusher.
Prime Conley was pretty damn good.
Prime Conley could have pushed that needle for sure.
He might have, yes. But you definitely got tail end version.
You did.
No, for sure.
You did.
But overall, I do believe Danny Ainge is a motherfucker, and he will pry the shit out of anybody trying to trade for either one of those guys. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to be easy. If they want out, it's not going to be easy, and it's not like they have leverage at the moment. It's going to be a bitch.
I will remind people though. A lot of people were saying, "Oh my God, Boston's going to be in the doghouse. They're going to be in the dark." When they traded away Pierce, Garnett, Allen was obviously long gone. Rondo ended up leaving. Everyone was like, what are they going to do? They flipped that shit into Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart, and now they're in the fucking finals. Albeit Danny Ainge is long gone, but they're in the finals. They flipped it to get them to where they are now.
Was Danny Ainge.
Yeah, right. A lot of that was definitely him.
I look at it and I'm like Joel said, Utah is a legacy organization, right? Not obviously a championship legacy organization, but a legacy nonetheless.
They have good
like you said earlier, who really wants to go to Utah?
That's where the draft is gonna have to be big. Because remember, again, for Boston, Al Horford, think about it. Al Horford was their biggest free agent signing in forever. Yeah. Right? So it's like you look at it, you surrounded Horford with draft picks. Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart.
Talk about luck.
But also with Boston, though, that was more so I feel like they wanted to build from the draft. You have a better chance of getting someone to say, come to Boston because especially if we're talking legacy organization for sure, but it's also it's more of an area where people would probably want to go than a Utah.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I'm not arguing that. But the reason why I specifically brought up Boston is Boston hasn't had that massive free. You don't really count. Kyrie was a trade, and Gordon Hayward never panned out, right? So you look at it and you're like, they didn't have like a massive big name to come in and change that organization.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that did it were the draft picks that turned out to be legit. And then Horford.
And
so I'm like, Utah for sure could do that.
But is Horford a guy who he left to go to play in Philly, who left Boston and ended up coming back by just, you know what? They traded Kemba. They needed to get it off there. They brought a bad contract on Al Horford, you thought at the time. Right. Al Horford has been a fucking gem. They wouldn't be here without Al Horford.
No, they would not. No, they would not.
What is it called? Comeback?
Yeah. Comeback. No. It's a comeback.
How old is Al Horford now? He's old now.
34, maybe?
He's got to be older than that. Maybe.
Older than that? Shit.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But he's not young. So
I agree.
The fact that he came back and did what he did and started for them, God bless him. Because bro, that he won. The reason they won Game 1 of that finals is Al Horford.
Right. And I do want to bring this up too, Didge, because you brought up the point of people would much rather go to Boston than to somewhere like Utah. I will add this in. Boston tried to get Jimmy, failed. Boston tried to get Durant, failed. So they tried to get some big splashy names, and those big names said, no, thank you.
That's a good point.
No, thank you.
You know what really annoys me? They always throw that shit in our face, but Boston's just as bad.
Yeah, no one's going there.
Way better legacy than we do.
Yeah, and no one's going there. And you can make an argument of if you had Jimmy Butler just next to Jason Tatum, let's say they couldn't get Jaylen Brown, right? Because they would have been too good to get Jaylen Brown. So you're just talking about Marcus Smart, Jimmy Butler, and Jason Tatum. Or the possibility of putting Marcus Smart with Durant at that point, where Durant seemed like he was a top defensive player that you would have put right next to him. So like they've had some big swings and they failed. So I'm like, that's not that. And again, it's the reason why I brought up Boston and talking about Utah is it's shown you that you can just do that. You just have to take some massive big ball swings on your draft picks, and they gotta turn out. And look, Joel just said it. Utah's already did that. They did that with Donovan, and then they did that with Rudy Gobert.
And none of those are high lottery picks. Whereas Boston,
right, exactly.
Number 2 pick. Tatum was 2, right?
No, he was 5. I thought he was 5. He was 2.
I thought he was 2.
Oh, no. No, I'm sorry. You know the mistake I made? Boston was at 5, and they traded up to get that second pick.
Yes.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
He was either 2 or 3.
No, you're right. Tatum was 2. He was top. Okay. He was 2. But I think the Celtics were at 5 and they traded up.
No,
or they traded back.
They were 1 and they went back.
They traded back. They traded back.
He was 3.
He was 3. So they traded back to 3. That's what it was. I knew it was some kind of trade back or something.
Because Philly ended up going 1
with Joel Embiid. Oh, they got faults. They got faults. You're right.
They got faults. Wow.
They got faults. Yeah.
Wow. That's the thing. Philly could have had Tatum.
Shit. Wait, couldn't
Lakers
they technically?
Lakers could have had Tatum.
Hold on. Technically, couldn't have Philly have had Ben Simmons, Tatum, and Embiid?
Yes.
Yeah, because Philly.
Yes, they could have. That's scary.
But like I said, Lakers could have had Tatum.
Yes, they could.
Yeah, but we don't ever. I mean, technically, we don't need any of those 2 motherfucking teams having anything good happen to them. But Lakers specific, they ended up getting fucking LeBron. No, I would not have liked the future where that motherfucker might have been with Jason Tatum and
LeBron.
No,
oh my God, that would have been.
I would have had to hate Jason Tatum. You know how much that would have hurt me?
Yeah.
I would have had to despise that motherfucker. No.
That would have been. Oh, that would have been.
And he went there with Lonzo, so imagine.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I just think if you're Utah, you've already shown that you have the capacity to draft well, right?
He did take their best drafter though. That's what he's in New York now. Walter Perrin.
And I like that. He's given us some really good ones, so we appreciate you.
He's been there a long time, so he's drafted for us now.
I will say this: Quinn Snyder, if you can hold out 1 year, because that's all I'm giving Tom Thibodeau is 1 year. If that motherfucker gives me another goose egg, bring your ass in here, play all this youth, and let's see what we can do. I'm just saying, hold out. Just hold out. It won't be long. It won't be long. Hold out. We might be calling you.
Where, but he'll get a job.
I don't doubt that at all. Just hold on for me. Just wait. Just wait.
Kind of see where's the next big hole going to be at
for head coach?
There's so many new coaches. It's tough.
Yeah, because to me, I kind of feel like if you're the NBA now and you're a franchise, you're looking at what a lot of these younger head coaches are doing and how the team is giving them the longevity to develop, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, all right, in 3 years, you didn't give me a championship contender. You're gone.
Right.
Bitch, you didn't have a championship caliber team. I had to come in and mold this shit. Yeah, I need time. You know what I'm saying? So you look at, I'll give you a perfect example. Look at what what's his name did in New Orleans. Give him time, the head coach.
The current head coach.
Yeah, the current head coach. Willie Green. Look at what he did with New Orleans. You look at that organization and you go, a healthy Zion, they could be a top 5 seed in the West with the way that he got those kids playing. You know what I'm saying? Zion can stay healthy.
I remember watching Willie Green play basketball. I feel old.
I remember watching Willie Green play basketball and thinking, head coach? No.
Never thought about
but
it.
Again, guys like that, players really kind of love guys
Darvin
like
Ham.
that.
Darvin Ham, I'm about to say Darvin Ham. It's a good example.
There you go. But we gotta at least wait to see what he does first.
It's tough.
Because I'm like, at least Willie Green has overexceeded expectations in New Orleans. Let's see what Darvin Ham's able to. No, not at all. But I'm saying we at least gave him
first year, bro. Good for him.
Right. We at least gave them
he came into a really good situation, though.
He did. I mean, it wasn't like the Boston Celtics were a bad situation.
Right.
I'll say it was rocky because a lot of people felt like
rocky.
There was a possibility those two couldn't stay together.
Yeah, but that it didn't start that way though. It became like, oh, they're losing, they're not losing. It might be time.
Well, no, remember last year that was the murmurs of can you win with both of them? No, I won't argue that. But that was definitely murmurs last year of can you win with both of them, or do you move one to get better pieces to surround one or the other? And Ime Udoka was just like, no, they just got to learn to play team basketball. They learned to play team basketball. Yep. They forgot about it. They forgot about it in the finals as we transition. They forgot about it in the finals. But to get to the finals, they bought into team basketball, and they over-exceeded expectations. Look at the gauntlet they had to run.
Yeah, well, you know what? They got into the playoffs hot, too.
They did. The Nets, the Bucks, the Heat. And now if they can beat Golden State, that's one of the most impressive gauntlets in a while.
Oh, yeah.
In a while. Like in a long while. And again, Didge, I'll give you the caveat of a lot of people believe the Bucks wouldn't have lost if they had just Chris Middleton.
Well, no, I don't like to do that. I do personally, yes, I agree, but you play who's there. So
that's right.
Every year there's injuries in the playoffs, and every year you can say this team or that team wouldn't have won if such and such was healthy. So it is what it is.
Yeah, it'll go down the dark hole. All right, so let's end it here. Let's talk about the finals. We got the first 2 games in the finals. We're at 1-1. Celtics stole that game 1. And luckily for Jordan Poole, there were 2 very attractive white women on court side, so he was able to ball out for game 2.
Hellscape, by the way. that reminds me, Twitter is a hellscape because those 2 women were just going to the game, didn't have anything to do. And because somebody else tweeted, you got thousands upon thousands of people saying, those women is ugly. And I'm just
come on, guys. Come on.
Just like,
even if you think they are, like, come on, man. Like they didn't show up to the game like trying to be hot stuff. They just showed up to the game to watch the game. Like
that was the first thing I saw the next morning, and I'm like, they're gonna wake up because it wasn't like I didn't follow the person who posted it. It just got that viral of people talking about them. I'm like, they're gonna log into Twitter and just see that.
I tell you what, for all those people that are saying those 2 women are ugly, I tell you what, you behind that keyboard aren't attractive enough to activate Jordan Poole. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying that motherfucker activated when he looked over and said, "Oh, what?"
I don't know if that's the case.
He dropped Pritchard half court and shot a half court shot. I'm just saying, look, all I know is I've always been taught that 2 + 2 is 4. And all I'm saying is the 1-2 is the women. The other 2 is his heightened ability to play better in that same game. That's all I'm saying. It might not have been. I just know he looked over, and then this motherfucker was crossing people at half court shooting threes. That's all I'm saying.
That was a hell of a shot.
That's all I'm saying.
That shot was sick, bro.
Let me just say this. That shot wasn't what was impressive to me. He had fucking Pritchard on a yo-yo string, and Pritchard didn't know where he was. He crossed them. Half court was crossing them. Jordan Poole was filthy. He was filthy.
There was like It was so far away. It was like
it was deep as shit. It was so deep. Curry looked at him like, "Hey,
that's my thing,
yeah,
bitch.
hey, what the fuck you trying to do here?"
I take my job.
I'll say this: in 2 games, I look at it the same way I looked at Boston versus Miami. I have no fucking idea where this is gonna swing. You have 2 very inconsistent teams, so I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I didn't see these 2 games ago. It's Golden State's to lose, or it's Boston's to lose. I looked at this very much like it'll be the same thing the Heat series was. You'll get to 7 games, and then whoever wins it, you'll go, I can see it. It won't be like, oh, what? They won? Either way you go, I think somebody will be like, makes sense. Joel, I'll start off with you. What are your thoughts on these first 2 games of the finals so far?
Not bad. I mean, the first game was more entertaining, and then Boston got hot. And they were just like on it, bro. I was like, wow, they could not miss from 3. It was insane. It's like, all right, they're gonna probably win it. I wasn't sure, but they did pull it through. Horford got hot, White got hot, and that's it. They pulled it through. And then it came down to game 2, and they just lost control of the game. And Golden State does what Golden State does. And like we said, you activated Jordan Poole. Like he's a fucking robot from the bench. Like, Jordan Poole comes in.
You activated the T2. That's what happened. The T2 got activated.
That's another team that just got so this team's gonna be good for so long. Why? Because they were already good. They had good players, and then they drafted fucking Jordan Poole at the 29th pick in the draft. They got Wiseman last year.
I was just about to say, what's even more frustrating.
I'm like, fuck this team, bro.
What's even more frustrating is we don't even know the ceiling of Wiseman yet. Picture if that motherfucker comes in and could play half as well as Jordan Poole. Then you're just like, well, shit, even when Curry, Clay, and Draymond retire, you got to sit through Jordan Poole and Wiseman for the next fucking decade. And it's clearly a franchise that'll go get a big name if need be, or just rebuild through the draft.
Can get a big name.
And can go get a big name.
Because San Francisco ain't no slouch of a city.
No, but it's not even a city. Here's all you got to do. Here's all you got to tell them. Hey, we made Clay, Durant, Steph, and Draymond work. You think I can't place you in with Jordan Poole and Wiseman and Kuminga and make that into a championship team? Because the first thing everyone thought when you brought Durant in was, well, that means you're going to take away from Clay and Steph. It only made their jobs easier. And we already thought their jobs were easy.
Well, there was shooters. It's like, just got to share the ball. I mean, that's all that is, you know? Hey, Durant said that's what he wanted. He's like, I don't want as much responsibility. I just want to play my game and blah, blah. And then he left.
Yeah. And then he said, oh, no, I got my 2 rings. I'm good. Didge, how are you seeing these first 2 games of the finals so far?
You think I'd come in and be like, oh, I'm changing up my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
No. Warriors in 5.
In 5?
Warriors in 5.
Wow.
I think game 1 was a fluke. I think that was evidenced by game 2.
Horford, man.
And you know what Al Horford did in game 2? A grand total of 2 points.
Yeah, but I mean, again, this isn't reminding you though of that Heat series where it was like some of those games could have been looked at as flukes, but it made it to 7 and Boston pulled away.
I think Golden State is that much better of a team than the Heat were.
I tell you what, you know what the most important game of this series will be, unless they make a game 7, obviously. It'll be tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll be tomorrow.
But no, I think, like I said, I think game 1 was a fluke. Steve Kerr, I feel like he took the pedal off too early. Going into the 4th quarter, I think he felt like, oh, we got this, you know. Maybe. And a couple shots started falling for Celtics, and they got the rhythm, and it was hard to turn it back on when you turned it off.
Yeah.
And so you sort of saw the difference of that with game 2, where they built their lead again in the 3rd. And instead of fully taking the pedal off, no, they were still out there, still, trying to push it.
It's a final. And I don't know how you ever think about turning them.
I don't know what happened with game. I don't know if it was a combination of rust because they had
maybe
more
they got overconfident.
Yeah, got overconfident. I don't know what it was, but I do think that was that one that they needed. Now I'll give it the caveat of maybe it goes 6, but.
No. Now you can't do that. You were so adamant about 5.
I just said maybe it'll go 6. I'll just my follow up to that, but I don't see it. I think that the game 1 to game 2, even so, 7 of the 8 quarters were really Golden State's. It just so happened that 1 quarter of Boston was fucking phenomenal.
And just enough to get them to win.
And that's it.
All right,
and
look,
I don't see it.
You're not gonna get an argument out of me either way. Because I hope that for the first time ever, there's no winner. I know that's impossible, but that's what I would hope for. But look, these are 2 phenomenal teams. If you told me either one won in 5 games, I wouldn't be too shocked because I'm like, they've played that well in these playoffs so far. But if you also told me it went 7 games either or, I would tell you that doesn't shock me either. I thought it was impossible for either one of them to be swept.
No, I didn't
You got too far for either one of them to get swept. Yeah. Even a gentleman. You're saying even a gentleman sweep. But I don't even think a gentleman sweep is possible.
Everybody always assumes that a sweep or 5 means it had to be domination.
No, I just mean even if it's close. If it's close, there's no way you're telling me that out of 5 games, Tatum couldn't get you 2. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Against this Warriors team, I don't think he can.
I don't believe that at all. I'm just saying he hasn't shown it yet. Tatum hasn't shown it yet.
We shall see.
He's shown the ability to get you 7 games, and then win.
I think there's no way it goes 7. No way. I'll give it a 2-3%.
And look, I'll give you this mulligan. Knock on wood. If there's any injury, I'll give you the mulligan.
Fair. We are holding this towards no injuries.
Right. I just want to make sure I'm clear about being fair. All right. So the last thing I want to end this on, because this is a funny one, I think we might enjoy. Anthony Edwards says his all-time starting 5 is Allen Iverson, Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Shaquille O'Neal. And I'm going to be honest with you. After seeing what this motherfucker did in the playoffs, I'm not in a position to tell him he's wrong.
Wait, repeat that. I'm sorry. Repeat that.
So Anthony Edwards, all-time starting 5.
It's okay, Allen Iverson. Never mind. Now it makes sense. Okay. Now it makes sense. Okay. The one I was lost on was like Anthony Edwards, not just blank. Like who would put him in an all-time? But yeah, of course you're gonna put yourself. Yeah,
Anthony Edwards in the top 5. Yeah, I don't know why we're discussing that. So no. That wasn't the conversation. The conversation was a lot of people struggle when they do top 5 greatest shooting guards of all time. A lot of people struggle between Dwayne Wade and James Harden. I don't understand how people struggle at all.
Between having who's better between the 2?
Or right. So the reason this conversation came up was the finals between OKC and Miami Heat. And then when Harden split off and became his own man, that was when Dwayne Wade was going this way, Harden was going this way. So people were making the argument statistically with the numbers Harden was putting up year after year, the conversation of it's going to be hard if he wins a title. Obviously, we know we're almost at the finish line for him and he ain't won one. Yeah, but at the time, it was if he wins one, just one. You're not telling me that you're leaving him off just to put Dwayne Wade in there. And I look back at it. Well, you also seem to be very hard on James Harden.
Do people forget the pre-LeBron Miami Dwayne Wade when he led Miami to the championship?
Yeah, I think they
do. Are we Shaq? Yeah.
and Alonzo Mourning. I hate when people forget Alonzo Mourning. Alonzo Mourning was a big piece.
Coming off the bench though.
And they had GP.
Yeah, but that was an older.
It was Dwayne Wade's team.
No. That's no argument here. I'm just saying when people go Dwayne Wade and Shaq, I'm like, well, if you're gonna put Shaq in there, put fucking Alonzo Mourning's name in there too.
That's fair.
It's clearly Dwayne Wade's team. There's no argument about that at all. No argument at all. Yeah. To me, I agree with you. Dwayne Wade makes my top 5 regardless. Harden could win 6 rings tomorrow. Dwayne Wade's still in my all-time shooting guard.
Harden might change things.
If Harden wins six rings, I can tell you right now, it's not because of James Harden. The way he's playing right now, I can tell you right now.
Again, it really depends on how that happens.
But yeah, so to me, I didn't think that was hard at all.
It was harder when he was playing well consistently.
I don't think so.
I'm with Didge. Even then, I still had Dwayne Wade there.
It's cool because what happened in the postseason? Nothing. And I'm like I said, even if we're taking the Miami LeBron years out, he led a team to a championship. James Harden hasn't sniffed one by himself. He hasn't sniffed those with other people.
Well,
what are we talking about here?
Now it's not a really an argument.
Like, now it doesn't help. But I'm with you, Didge. I'm with you because again, I go, all right. So you go like Allen Iverson, you go Michael Jordan, you go Kobe Bryant, you go Dwayne Wade, and then that fifth one, I don't believe is a reserve spot for James Harden. Is all I'm saying. And again, I'm not putting us on the spot. I'm saying if we actually did this as a topic next week, right, where we had time, I still don't think James Harden would be on any of our lists.
What are you listing T-Mac as?
Not anymore, right?
I don't know because I feel like he spent more time as a small forward than he did as a shooting guard.
Yeah, Vince Carter was a shooting guard mostly.
Right. I think he just spent more time as a small forward. Wait, what was he in his Houston years? Because that's what I take T-Mac at his apex.
That's again.
Was he a shooting guard in those years?
He spent 3 years as a shooting guard, 3 years as a small forward.
Yeah, that's who was in between.
That's hard.
That's why I said, what do you call T-Mac?
Do you know what I have to lean towards? If he split it during his apex in Houston, then I have to go by whatever he was in Orlando. In Toronto.
Shooting guard.
He was a shooting guard in Orlando and Toronto?
Shooting guard in Orlando, small forward in Toronto.
It's hard. It's hard.
Forward in New York, so for me, he's a small.
You know what?
Shooting guard in New York. Actually,
I tell you what,
shooting guard here.
No, you're right. He was actually a point guard at one point.
I tell you what. You know what I'll do for you, Didge? You know what I'll do for you? Because I think it's harder to put T-Mac in all-time small forwards. I'll give you shooting guard. I'll give you shooting guard.
There's your 5.
Yeah, I'll give you shooting guard. Because to me, it's easier to work T-Mac into a shooting guard conversation than it is a small forward conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, fair. I'm like small forwards. He's not better than Durant. He's not better than LeBron. He's not better than Larry Bird. You know what I'm saying? Like you can just keep going. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I couldn't put him there. And then it's like, I'm not saying I'm putting Paul Pierce in my all-time small forwards, but it's like if you're gonna put anyone in your small forwards, you wouldn't put T-Mac in over fucking Paul Pierce.
Right.
What separates them is the ring.
You know what? Since he split so much. He went straight from high school. That doesn't help. I was gonna say, let's see what he played.
Help. Yeah. So you know what? I tell you what, we'll do top 5 best small forwards and shooting guards next week. So it gives us time. Yeah, all time. So it gives us time to formulate a list. But like I said, just off of blind memory, there's no way James Harden's making an all-time top 5 2 guards. 10, top 10 for sure. Yeah. But 5, no.
5,
he might even be number 6. But not in that top 5. Not in that top 5.
He has an argument, but yeah, I mean, it's without the rings and his current decline has been not good. Doesn't look good.
And again, Joel, the biggest thing is because again, T-Mac doesn't. No, did he? He won that ring in San Antonio. No, they lost. You're right. Yeah. So he has no rings either. But
T-Mac and San Antonio. Even if he did win that ring, I don't know if I would have.
That's fair. But I'll say this: T-Mac helped put Toronto on the map. T-Mac helped not help put Orlando on the map, but T-Mac he helped bring them back. And then what he did for the Rockets,
relevant is what he did.
What he did for the Rockets led the way for James Harden to do what he did for the Rockets.
No, he definitely did more for the Rockets than any other team. Orlando was good.
Oh no, I won't say any other team.
I'd say
would we look at Toronto the same if Vince Carter and T-Mac didn't do what they did?
Vince Carter more for Toronto, but that bringing Orlando back to where they were.
And Vince Carter's called Air Canada.
Vince Carter for sure for Toronto. Vince Carter sure for Toronto. Yeah. But bringing Orlando back to where they were.
How many years was he in Orlando?
5,
Not
6?
Many, because I remember Grant Hill was struggling there with injuries.
That was the decline of Grant Hill, sadly.
Right. No, that wasn't declining Grant Hill.
It was it wasn't the guy that was basically a superstar anymore after that.
Oh, well, it was a step below, but I would say his Phoenix years were.
Well, he was a role player in Phoenix.
That was he's gone. That was gone.
That was no
injuries was Grant Hill's biggest problem in Orlando was injuries.
He wasn't a star in Phoenix. He was a good role player. But it was
if Grant Hill was healthy in Orlando, we're not having the same conversation. Him and T-Mac would be unstoppable if he was healthy.
If healthy, who knows?
Grant Hill and Penny Hardaway are the 2 players I always look back at, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what anything would have been if we got the true apex of Penny Hardaway and Grant Hill. I don't know what anything would have been if we got the true apex of that. And you want to know what's scary about Tracy McGrady? Tracy McGrady said that Orlando when he was in Orlando. They had a chance to go get Tim Duncan.
And Tim Duncan was going to go there.
He was going to go there, and they fucked it up.
Oh, wasn't that the one that he wanted his wife on the flight or something like that?
Yeah,
something like that, and they fucked it up. So you're talking about Prime McGrady and fucking Tim Duncan
over not having his wife go on the fucking flight. You fucking kidding me?
I would have named the plane after his wife. Are you saying her face would have been all across?
Don't get me wrong. It's not the Tim Duncan that eventually became best power forward of all time, but it's
Joel.
It's still.
It could have been Tim Duncan and a fetus, and I would have said he's gonna grow up to be a tall motherfucker. Put his wife on the plane. Put her on the plane. Name her after the plane. Whatever you got to do.
How different would Orlando look now if Tim Duncan became?
You know what I want us to do next week. As we sign off here next week, I want us to have a what if episode. So I want us to dig through some of the best what if scenarios. Yeah, just 5, not like 30. Just 5.
I'll give you just 5 Nick ones.
Well, if that's what you have, bring that. But I want us to go through some of the best what ifs.
I've given you 2. Remember, we had a chance at Kareem, and we had a chance at Dr. J. Fucked up both.
Yep. You know what? My biggest what if, Joel, is what if we held on to what's his name during the height of Patrick Ewing? What's his name? That was Carmelo Anthony's favorite player of the Knicks.
Bernard King.
Yeah, Bernard King. Yeah.
If we didn't trade him. Yeah, it's another what if. Like, what happened if we didn't get rid of Bernard King and they played together? Yeah, that would have been another what if. Yep.
I
told you I can get you 5.
We got some. We got some. We definitely got some. My biggest what if that I always hold on to, because I'm like, I would have liked to have seen what that looked like. What if Kobe did go to Chicago? What if
that was going to be on my list?
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that.
What if? That's a massive what if.
Interesting. Like,
or you know what? The what if that has still to this date made people scratch their heads. What if they did not decline Chris Paul going to LA?
Well, they didn't decline. They got.
I was so happy, bro. Yeah.
Well, no. I didn't mean the Lakers. I meant the league. The league was just like, they're like, Kobe just got rings. No. Only for them to go. Golden State wants Durant. Why not? Even though obviously it was a whole new regime. Right. It's a whole new regime.
He's like, I need parity.
But yeah, we're gonna play the what if game for basketball. We might throw in some footballs if we can think of them, but I think a basketball.
I'll hold on to my Nick ones. I'll see. I'll tell you what could have happened if we did things. It's like a normal organization.
We'll open it up, Joel. If you want those to be your
my first 2. I'll give you those.
No. What is the term? Your not. It wouldn't be in your top 5. It would be right after your honorable mentions. If you want them to be your honorable mentions, okay. So yeah, we'll definitely play around with that. We'll see how much fun that can be.
So many.
Because I tell you what, the what if that I always try to simulate in 2K is what if Jordan, instead of that Last Dance year, just became a free agent? What if Jordan was a free agent heading into that season? What if he had a chance to go wherever he wanted? Where the fuck would Jordan have gone?
Mm-hmm.
Like think about it.
Interesting.
Think about it, because I don't think he would have went to pair himself up with another superstar. I think he might have wanted the challenge of taking a basement team and then rebuilding from there and taking that team to a fucking finals.
I got another Nick one.
That's the ego he has.
I got so many.
No, we're gonna go through them. Remember them, Joel, whether you got to write them down or not.
I got 3 right now, and then you brought up the 1, so I'm looking for. I told you I could get 5, bro.
We got so many we can play around with, but we'll dig into that next week. Make sure you guys check in with us tomorrow at 7:30. We'll be going live to break down Miss Marvel. And then at 8:30, we'll be going live to break down Kenobi. So we'll be pulling a double duty. Yeah.
Great Black Adam trailer too.
Oh, Joel, I'm thinking about us doing something like right when you get off of work, us doing something for Black Adam.
Yeah, I'm working from home tomorrow because I just didn't want to be over there when all this is happening.
Yeah, too much will be happening. Joel's like, I can't take the stress of everything. I can't.
I can't be at the office today. I'm sorry.
I can't. Sorry. They're like, why? Is something wrong? You sick? No. Geek shit. And I'm like, I get it. But stay tuned for that. And I did want to fill you guys in because it was asked of me, will we be doing a boys breakdown? Unfortunately, the boys comes out on Fridays. And like I said, it's harder to pull a panel together for Friday. So unfortunately, I won't be able to do that. So me and Joel will be breaking it down when we drop our Much to Do About Nothing episode. So you'll still hear us break it down. It just won't be just
if
about. If
that's the case, then like, if anybody wants to join us for those, feel free.
Oh, like we do on Monday, the boys breakdown on Monday?
Yeah, exactly. So if you want anybody to come in and talk boys, tell them to come in and we can talk some boys. Okay. And they can stay or they can go, whatever the fuck. You know?
Okay. All right. And then
this is what I thought. Later.
Or you know what, Joel? Maybe we'll do, because we usually start recording later. So maybe we'll do like just a small hour one, like 8 to 9. Where it's just the boys, and then at 9 we do the rest of our shit. But all right, guys, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to an all new episode of GVN Sports. As always, I had fun with my guys, Didge and Joel. We got a lot of great conversations in there. We will have a lot more football to talk about soon.
I mean, obviously, it's off season, OTAs and mini camp and all of that. It's once things start picking up with the NFL, it's not like we're not gonna talk football,
right? And here's the thing: you'll blink, it'll be preseason,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Hell, you'll blink and we'll be at the fucking Las Vegas for fucking what you call it, Joel? The Summer League. So I'm like, before you know, we'll be in that.
One day I want to go to Las Vegas.
That would be fun to go to one.
I have a friend who stays in Vegas now.
I always say I have a very addicting personality, so I knew I'd be the first one doing cocaine. So I'd have to be careful.
We're gonna get a team in Vegas. We're gonna get a team in Vegas one day too. So at least I think we will. So
you know what, Joel? Write that down for me. I want us to talk expansion for NFL and NBA. I want us to talk expansion. Yeah, I want to do NFL too. I want us to talk expansion because I'm sure there's a few cities that should be represented in the NFL that aren't. So I wanted to talk expansion.
I could think of.
I know how much you love expansion, though, so I do want to do that.
Especially basketball, because I feel like Seattle deserves a team. And
100%.
Las Vegas would be second on.
And here's the crazy thing: for Seattle to not get a basketball team, and you saw how well that city responded to the Seahawks, is bananas. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like they Supersonics forever, and then because a dude from Oklahoma City bought the team, and they know that the arena needed an update, and he couldn't get one. Nah, fuck it, we're going to Oklahoma. What?
It's like, hey, well, they fucked me over. So
we had one season of seeing how Oklahoma was when the hurricane happened, and then I think the Hornets were playing there.
Right.
And they're like, oh, that's perfect. They liked it. We're gonna go there.
Yeah, we're gonna go there.
Shit, okay.
But yeah, we'll do an expansion episode for you because I know how much you love talking about it. So I would love to break it down. So I got you, man. But all right, so tomorrow 7:30 for Miss Marvel, 8:30 for Kenobi. Full night of breakdowns. Make sure you guys tune in for that. But till next time,